You showed me how to live love, so tell me what you're thinking
5 has his charged shotgun, but is he charged up enough right now to deal that big damage? The shot is not there, and the Storm takes him out.
Not gonna exchange right now with the tactical only. Can he find one more? Still scrambling to stay alive. Here comes all the rockets from the team, but no, it's not gonna be enough. 10 Elans for the World Cup champion. What's up, Fortnite fam, and welcome to another community tournament. Today we have GG Enterprises $15,000 NA Trio Invitational Tournament. I'm your host, Monster D-Face, but forget about that. We have gameplay coming up soon. We have casters that are be taking it away. Let's toss on over to the boys, Clay Stelling and Shayo Wager. Clay, my brother, what's going on?
Oh, I'm excited to see these trios in action. Now, we do have FNCS warm-ups happening right now, but for NA, they got a little bit of time to get these games and get warmed up before those grand final actions happen.
Absolutely. And I'm also hyped up to see exactly how things are looking in between the final rounds of warm-up for NA East and how these guys play in a tournament where prizes are on the line and these trio legacies are kind of being defined before the FNCS even starts.
That's right. And it's not just prizing on the line, guys, for the players. There's stuff going to be for the community as well. And you guys will be able to stick around for that. We're going to toss on over to the format, though. Let's just break it down. This is what I would call like a preparation for the preparation. So it's nonstop action. Clay, take me through the scoring format.
Yeah, so if you look at it, it's going to be the threshold format that we know, but 5 points for the Victory Royale. Second place, you're going to get 3 points. Third to fourth, 3 points. Fifth to eighth, 4 points. 13 to 16, 3 points. 9th through 12th, 2 points as well. I believe that all adds up to 20 points there for the Victory Royale, and each elimination is only going to be worth 1 total point. So if you wipe a trio, that's 3 points there. Going to be some good math there. Going to favor that placement threshold there towards the top. You get a lot more points for surviving.
Yeah, if you watch competitive Fortnite, you understand that you got to squeeze away those extra placements. That's where you're going to just continue to chip away at the iceberg, make your way up the leaderboard. We also have, of course, money on the line, prizing $15,000 being divvied out. This is nothing to overlook. Just take a look here. Just a way to treat the competitive ecosystem of Fortnite right? Like, so Fortnite's always doing a great thing. Let's take a look there. First place is going to take home $5,400. Second's going to be $3,000, all the way down to 10th place. Of course, you have upwards of the 30-plus teams, right? This is a trios event, all of which are going to be invites only. So if you guys are familiar with the nightly, weekly scrims that go on in NA East, we have some of the best players to look out for. And more importantly, now we're putting money on the line here. So GG Enterprise coming in and taking care of the boys here, Shayo.
Yeah, and they're looking like big boys on the docket to play today. CalcMax, Zex all the way up top, and then Acorn, Jack Slacks all the way towards that bottom right side. But these guys aren't tier listed by any means. I believe anyone really has a shot at first place. Not only that, but to really solidify where they're going to be dropping down, where some of these top teams are really taking control over on the map. It's been a hot topic recently, Clay, between different players, between different teams, as to who owns what on the map.
Yeah, and we will have those players contesting each other here again. So it's our stretch. There's Omega Dubs. That's still going to happen. And it's going to be contested as well in these trios. We'll have to find out. There's a lot of the big names that you know and love playing here today. Egod, Jelty, Elise as well.
As we go on to the next page, we'll dive into a little bit more as to what these teams actually play like and how they move, how they actually get their eliminations from every single portion of the game. But there's many top names and some people trying to define their play styles like Keox, OSP, and Gonzo, guys who've been really good previous seasons or in solos, but maybe not really in tune in the trio meta as much, just trying to still make a name for themselves. Air Crip and Deep here, there, Too Fierce, Illis, River Son, Cod, Gen, Qua, Feared, all the top names you guys are used to in NA East, as Monster mentioned. It's going to be a good show today.
It is indeed, and we got more coming through as well. Again, Monster mentioned the giveaways in the chat, so be prepared to enter those. But as we go to the next page, Shayo talked about players looking to make a name for themselves here, right? Tahi, Gabe, definitely players that could step up and make a name for themselves today. But of course, we got the big players like Creo, Bucky Kanata, Biz Omega Dubs, and we have an EU team of Forceling, Hen, and Savid going all the way over to compete today.
Yeah, a lot of different teams playing. One more EU player than Queasy on the side of Class and Eclipse's team. Might also have a little bit of a invite-only type vibe with fewer teams actually queuing up and us having a lot more spots open on the map and a thicker end game to really look out for. So stay tuned for that as the games go on. But it's 6 games these guys will be playing. It's going to be fun. And then right after that, they're going to be diving into that final round of NA East FNCS warm-up.
We'll see who comes out on top. Again, 6 games here today. It's a more standard 6-game format. And at the end of it, someone's going to walk away with a lot of money.
Hey, and that was a great way to take us through it. You guys see the roster there, right? If there was a perfect world, you can say, hey, every FNCS or every big tournament, we want this roster. You have all of your favorite players from NAEs. That's the significance here. We don't get to see this happen very often. Boys, we got a couple minutes here before the battle bus goes off. Clay, I'm going to start with you, man. The spicy names that's on that list. Who are you putting your money on?
You know, we didn't really mention it, but I think Scented, Edgy, and Commandment are going to come out. Scented and Edgy dominated trios back in West days, but now they're on East playing with Commandment, a very, very strong player. And Scented's IGL is very, very, very good and strong. If they're able to make things work, I think they're going to be near the top.
And Shayo, I mean, I want your take because Shayo, you're the kind of guy, you get creative, man. You want to make bets. You want to do all these kind of fun stuff. You know, I know you have all the great ideas, and you typically have great calls too. Who's going to be your prediction?
All right, let's go for this hot prediction. Xset in 4. I believe by game 4, the competition's going to be over. These guys will be ahead. AV, Knight, and Shark, if you guys aren't familiar with the names specifically in that trio, all signed to the same org. Very good synergy between all 3 players. They mix and match the roles as endgame goes down, as these early fights break down too. Then they got Fortilla and hopefully taking away this whole competition.
I think it's crazy how no one mentioned the Avery Booga Jamper team, right? Avery, the most decorated from FNCS. He put up the most points for his team, so something to look out for. I think seeing that team come together for Booga, Jamper, Avery, and Booga's been on fire lately with the tournaments and whatnot, so he's going to be my clear pick for someone who is going to be a thriving star, who's going to continue to do what is that he's doing. This Battle Bus 1 is about to be underway, and man, we just want to go ahead and tip the hat once again to the GG Enterprise, to the community out there. Don't forget to, of course, follow, guys, because as the show is going to continue to go on, as the course plays its route out, you guys are going to be able to win for being here as well and being a part. I think the tweets are already live. The players are fired up. And, you know, this is what Fortnite's all about. This is what the community is all about here for NAEs.
Absolutely. And I just feel like today is going to be a nice kind of intense warm-up for these players with some stakes on the line. So we don't usually get to see that. Also cool to see EU and NA happening at the same time with hot action. So if anyone's watching Fortnite today, I feel like this is the biggest plate possible that anyone can really eat from for that viewing experience.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because that is literally the truth, right, Clay? Like,
yeah,
you're talking, you have all the FNCS boys like going toe to toe. You have all the NAs boys. Like, these are the biggest profiles on the scene. I don't think there's ever been a time or an era where you've seen everyone on at once. So doing things differently today, right? Really shaking up for Sunday.
Yeah, it's a full day of Sunday Fortnite competitive action. It's just so good to see. And then, of course, you know, over here in NAEs, that people are watching football at the same time. You got so many different competitive things to watch all at the same time. I'm very, very excited to see how this unfolds.
Hey, man, so I'm just trying to talk to the boys in the back right here. Give us that ETA. What's the countdown? What's the rundown? The battle bus, it should be about going down here soon. I want to use this as another opportunity as well to just like set the stakes, right? What does this mean for players? Because there's not a lot of times where you get to really practice and lead up to these events and put some stakes on it, right?
Yeah, the biggest thing I think for this tournament, or any tournaments that are going to happen before that week 1 of FNCS qualifiers drops down, is control of drop spots. Those 2 words, drop spots, will just be all over this tournament, all over any games that are going to be playing over scrims time and time again. It's just about where these guys can get control. Past that too, not just the players, the viewers. I know this is Play Enterprise, GG Enterprise's channel and stuff, and a tournament. You guys are maybe used to watching European players play all the time. This is NA East. You can choose a trio that you kind of have never really seen before really play down with live spec, you know, with the entire nameplates on 24/7. So if you guys are just looking at people that you really like the playstyle of, one place to become a fan.
Yeah, and that's a good call too, right? We're using that live spectator client, guys. This is going to be as real time as possible once the games are spun up. Of course, we have a slight delay in place, but it's going to be very minuscule, and the action is going to be captured as soon as it unfolds. This is about as close to the action I think that anyone is going to be delivering for the scene. It's something that the practice server, of course, prides himself in, trying to deliver that action close to chest. Clay, you know, Shayo mentioned draw spots and, you know, players being contested amongst one another. If there's any communities that have it, it's the elite community, elite scrims, where they're practicing nonstop. They're literally, you know, tailoring their drops to one another, and they're, you know, clashing all the time.
Oh, and yeah, we see the result of that on Twitter all the time. I think everyone knows after a game of Elite Scrim, there's gonna be some hot tea on the timeline. And this isn't also a way for those players that are contesting to see, okay, can we really contest, or are we gonna have to change our drop spot? And this is also one of those chances. Do we continue with the same trio going into week number 1 of FNCS? There's so many different things at play here as well, with the FNCS warm-up finals happening after this. So there's a lot of beef that could come through from this tournament.
I mean, that is the question, right? How many times do you have to battle someone before you finally feel like, hey man, enough's enough, or it's time to move on and figure out a different strategy? Zayt brought it up on Twitter. He did it best, quite literally. He said, listen, if you're not some kind of tier 1, or even better, I'll go to another tweet that he posted out. He said, if you're not landing for Doom's Domain or for Stark, for Industry, like, if you're not playing for first place, you're not doing it right. And interesting that we have this NA and EU kind of content going on at the same time. Bongo responded. He was the one who was like, wait a second, you're kind of underrating Doom's Domain here and what you can do. But, you know, the counter argument is the vault that the Stark provides.
And these players are going to be winning for that drop spot too. The big other win, though, is that this is also a third-party tournament. And with the FNCS, with Cash Cups, it's in its own kind of tier as to which players dominate this type of competition, right? We see players who are Cash Cup warriors. We see FNCS champions statistically average high placements and almost also wins, you know, whether it's DreamHack or the FNCS. But for third-party tournaments, there's a certain type of style you have to play with. They're always scheduled at certain times. The competition has a certain atmosphere. So I'm wondering and seeing which team actually comes on top today for this type of competition.
That's right. Well, listen, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to leave it to you guys. Clay, Shia Wager, as always, you guys are going to crush. I know you are. Game 1's about to be on their way here for the $15,000 Trio Invitational. Take it away, boys. Do your thing.
Hey, thank you so much, Monster. Let's get right into it. Let's hop straight through, hopefully almost to game number 1. If you guys are unfamiliar with us, my name is Shia Wager. This is Clay Styling to my left, hopefully. Not sure if the mirroring is going on through OBS, but let's get straight to the game. Clay, let's see what's going down.
I am excited, especially as we get to see where this battle bus is going. 93 players into almost every single trio is here today. It's going over that caddy corner area that what used to be a hot drum now is kind of just abandoned, and no one really likes it. As you see, a couple llamas there, one by Stark, so that could play a little bit of a, you know, a pool in some of those loop pass there. Pretty much standard drops here from everyone, as we see Rocane dropping in towards those Sentinel hands that are introduced this season.
Drop spots galore all around the map. The one thing I like to focus on game 1 is which of these kind of weaker teams, when it comes to early game synergy, really pop off the bat. Which of these teams, as you mentioned, at Starks, at Doom's Domain, end up actually winning and holding on to the trophy of this drop spot for at least the start of this tournament.
As we are actually over to Edgy and Scented, it looks like they've lost Commandment. Not sure exactly what happened there, but dropping in Starks one player down is going to be very, very hard. Don't know if they're contested as well, but Edgy is going to get that start chest with that legendary arc rifle and the legendary pump shotgun. Going to be very, very good. If anybody was to drop out of this trio, it would have been Commandment, because Edgy and Scented together, their synergy goes completely unmatched.
Completely agree. But at the same time, if it's one trio synergy, you always have to pair it up with the next trios as well. So we're looking at Crim's class in the Eclipse right now. So Queasy not going to be playing in the competition today in NA East. It'll be Crim's taking up his spot. A man who's been looking to get a solidified trio across, I think, almost every single season. He had Spades all the way in the very beginning when things were going down in the World Cup. We moved over to Season X of FNCS, and we had him with Clicks and Spades there. But now, completely new roster he's playing with. Past that, here's Monster's pick. I would also say a fan favorite pick for the tournament: Bugha, Jamper, and Avery.
And Avery, this kind of C9, looking to represent them well. They're fully aggressive onto Edgy, Scented, and Commandment. Edgy trying to get away in that Stark rifle, but I think they're going to find him out. Bugha actually already got the elimination, so that's what happened. Commandment went down. Bugha trying to hit a little bit of a harpoon. You know, that harpoon very, very useful at grabbing those players out of the sky, but Edgy and Scented seem to be able to make it away, but I don't know if Bugha is going to be able to find the shots. Scented actually has the key, and he's going to go down there, and I think a third party coming in. Edgy trying to run away a different way, but no, I think he's going to be sprayed out of the air, and I think that's going to be the it for Commandment, Scented, and Edgy, as I think they did just get eliminated.
So wrap up for them, and now we flip over to the words the south side of the map. Unfortunate, we were talking about that game 1 storyline, Clay, of these players coming back and forth and really trying to get a solidified spot on Starks or Doom. So what does that mean for Commandment, Scented, Edgy if they don't have that drop spot down? If the other team gets confidence, it means possible destruction and complete doom for the rest of this tournament.
And the tournament going into FNCS, right? We talked about how this is going to play in FNCS warm-ups and the other tournaments as well. If they can't solidify their drop spot here in a third-party tournament, this is going to give Bugha, Jamper, and Avery so much power and so much confidence going in to these official FNCS tournaments. And I don't know if Scented and Edgy can overcome it. Now over to Fortilla, where it's the XZ trio that Shio mentioned that he wants to pop off. Av, Shark, and Knight. And now Fortilla doesn't really have a lot of loot this season as it was kind of crashed into the island, but they're able to make it work.
They were actually doing something really interesting where AV was stretching over towards that Slurpy shack that had all the shields available. But I feel like other teams who are landing near Logjam, near Weeping Woods, have kind of claimed that back and not given it to them for free, realizing what was going down, because that's a lot of loot and free shields. I think as a team, they rotate there now, and they get to have, although a smaller POI, free shields completely, and keep a lot of the utility they get from the spot.
And you see right now, Knight all the way in Logjam, completely away from the teammate, doing exactly the split that you just talked about, is solidifying them so much loot. And people need to realize that, like, that is, the scavenger routes this season are not as good as they were last season. We all know 50% chest spawn and it is in the game, and we've played with it. So they're going to have to deal with that. And if they get contested, they're not going to have a lot of loot. As we swap over to Sweaty Sands, though, Nosh, Clix, and Zypha in a fight against Not Panda, Stowe, and Daxter.
They're going for a box fight near the pier of Sweaty Sands. Note that also in one of the recent patches, the water level is slightly kind of receded towards the beach, so you have a little bit more room to really box fight, / not really drop down for the swim. But I don't think this is going to be a heavily invested fight just yet. They'll be farming out. They'll be boxing up more. When that first shot comes down is when things actually start to speed up.
And going back to old trio fights, the longer they take, the more you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. They decided to go in. Nosh and Clix Shockwave into battle, but they're getting sprayed at from behind. They actually had him split a 2-1 split. Stowe, though, going to be caught out against Nosh and Clix. We'll see if Zypha going to be able to make something happen. Nosh down to about 100 effective HP. Clix in a box. Shots come through. He takes a lot of damage. Only 2 builds remaining. 83 effective. He's got Chug Splashers, and he's got minis in his inventory to pop, but I don't know if he's got the builds to keep him solidified. He does get the minis off Nosh. He's putting the pressure back there on Daxter. Chug Splasher going to come out. Nosh going to get tagged up from Daxter, but Clix using the last little bits of builds that he has remaining. See if they're going to come out on top. I don't know if they have the stamina. No, they do. Daxter is going to go down, and they wipe the entire trio just like that. They turn it around.
Complete coin flip right there from this team, and Zypha, Clix, and Nosh will be moving through with control of both Sweaty, but still at the backside of zone. Always wondering how this trio ends up playing. What are their dynamics? For me, I just see these big bulls, Nosh and Clix, on the front lines, with Zypha kind of being the glue between them, kind of leading them through that China shop, but still being as destructive as possible. So we saw it there in the box fight. We'll see how it works towards the end in mid-game. Right now, though, no bulls, no China shop, just vehicles, possibly a Fast and Furious remake on the map with Sprite, Tahi, and Accept.
And this is one of those things that introduced in the new season that I don't think many people take as advantage of as they should. These cars, very, very useful for just getting to where you want to go, rotating in, and now they can go and farm up this metal, which on the map now, because of the way the cars are, is very, very precious, and it's even harder to get this season.
Movement has always been the name of the game. We saw the way Marzo W made these cars look like a baller towards endgame too, but in the early, if you have 3 with a group, that's actually awesome. That's great. It's just about the gas you really have to manage when you're moving around. Still, let's talk about this trio a little bit as well. Sprite, Accept, and Tahi. I would say these guys are more so wild cards. They've had defined experiences with other people before. Specifically, I would say Tahi, kind of playing with a bunch of slightly higher profile trios. But when it comes to this one in specific, I just feel like these guys will always be on kind of the dead side of zone or in a congested place, and make like the second best decision to get them somewhere else towards another trio, but never really push themselves forward enough to grab that win from another trio or grab a specific spot better from another trio. So with this car rotate, you kind of get to have a little bit more of a say on where your position is on the map, where your position is every single game. And we'll see how they take kind of their, I would say, inexperience with each other and make it kind of a benefit, playing snappy, playing, I would say, more audibly, looking for fast picks and fast positions on the map.
Sometimes it's the underdog that comes out on top, and people that are used to being on top, though, Macwood, Zexro, and Calc, They're rotating in late to start, so they get to have a little bit of that vault loot uncontested and don't have to worry about anybody being there. In turn, though, we're on board here with Riverson as he is down. We have Illis and Spade. Furious is down as well. This side not going well for either team, really. Is Illis now going to fall? Joji, Spade, and Kyle going to take them down.
Yeah, Gandhi, Joji, Spade, these guys I think have had the epitome of low-tier beef on every single drop spot they've tried to drop in. This is going to be the one they shoot for, though it's going to be a Lazy Lake or somewhere close to it. We tune with Rocane, actually, off that battle bus. It's going to be him holding down Gandhi, Joji, and Spade from up top. We'll see how that trio works.
As Wrigley looks for a snipe that is going to cost him some shield. And trios, the shield pulls a little bit more because you have that extra person. It all comes down to if you're trading too early, are you going to have shield for that end game? If you're not trading too early, are you getting enough Storm Surge tags? So it's an effect. I like to say it's an ebb and flow of shield versus Storm Surge tags for all of these players. As you see, AJ not confident in his amount of match, so he's staying in the zone with this trio to try to farm up. The bad thing for them is there's someone on top of Stark. That's probably Zexro, Mac, and Calc. And we've got Jaith, Crunchy, and Hoofishy right here to hold them in zone. While this would be a good play to get their mats up, they did not prioritize their rotation right.
They'll still have a chance to possibly rotate around every single team in the zone, but still, maybe it speaks because of their lack of experience kind of with each other as a trio. I just feel like those three are really hot individual players who've had notable duos, had notable runs. I think Vix Voil, and it was one other teammate way back in Season X trios were looking so good on one of these qualifier weeks. Now, though, all new partners, all new season, all new chapter. Not only just for the game, but for their legacy and storylines. I just want to see how their individual performances kind of shape up together and shape each other. Good choice to rotate towards the left side.
And speaking of individual performances, Al, Roller, and Colazo all kind of together have really great independent performances and solos, as well as other FNCSs, but they've never really played together that well. But we're on board here with Fired, who's getting an elimination there onto someone that was already down. The shots are going to come through. He's going to get in. The charge going to be used. That's going to be Forceling from the EU team that's coming in here. So Hin and Savid, one of them already down. One player just trying to make a play, crash padding out. They are already wide of the task coming through. The spray going to be too much, and Fired going to take them down.
At CP themselves going down, and now we have a scary trio with more loot. Quad, Genesis, and Feared. If you guys are not familiar with these guys we're playing right now, they're always there somehow, sometime towards the top 20 of solo leaderboards, towards the top 20 of duo leaderboards, competition to competition. Never actually reach that number 1 or top 5 slot, or just consistently enough never reach it. Regardless, though, we'll tune back in with them. Right now, we got bigger names on the docket to kind of remind people of Zayt, Stretch, and Saf.
And we all know they land Doom's Domain. I'm not sure if Saf is in the game with them right now or if it's just a bug. But even if they're not, Stretch and Zayt will be able to dominate with those Doom mythic items in their arsenal. We all know how powerful they are. They just really just put up a pressure that you can't really afford to take for too long. As we're down to the south part of the map, Acorn, Slacks, and Jock. Very, very good individual players. As a trio, we have yet to really see them perform. As Zayt now back on the screen, Hoofishy going to try to hold them out. And this is really good as Storm Surge is here. The threshold, we all know, is going to be 70. So 4 players have to go down before this goes. As Zayt is above, but a duo playing in a trio's world, they're going to have a hard time continuing this rotate in as they are so far behind. But Zayt not afraid to keep going for these tags.
If there's one person who can find the play to make this happen, it has to be Zayt. Although just one shockwave is the most worrying thing. They kind of have an unlimited supply of explosives long range. Nice big Doom's bomb to land 260 damage tags. But this kind of works like a pseudo RPG that doesn't take rockets. It just has a cooldown. We'll see how much Zayt gets to use it, though. Kind of being pushed back way on the zone towards the left in zone, as well as that previous trio with Vix that we were looking at in AJ. Still moving in, still taking damage. The most notable thing for this, though, we haven't seen Stretch's inventory, but they don't have white heals. So this campfire will be important, but after it's done, when these guys move in, I'm not sure how long they'll be able to survive with sub 200 HP.
And sub 50 match. 31 here on Zayt is abysmal, especially because he just used some there to restart the campfire. Now, they can path a little bit towards the left, towards Palazzo, D-Roller, and company, as it's what they're doing now, but This is going to be really hard. It's a 2-tick after this. He's got a shockwave in case he wants to get in. He's going to go ahead and throw that bomb out just to try to clear it. We're back over here with the X-Head trios. They're in a box right here. Shots being exchanged. Legion going to be tagged up. There is Arab is going to go down. Shark gets a lot of damage off on Legion, but takes lower than he dealt. That's Animal and Agers on the other side. Have kind of stalled out. Shark took way too much damage for this fight to really continue for them to go in. They're going to both back off. They're both going to heal up. And now, once Shark gets up to a comfortable fighting HP, they're going to go in. They're going to be aggressive. As we see Kanata going to go down there to COD Genesis in the feed.
They have a minute to commit it, though. Because after that, the zone is coming, and they're possibly going to be in a worse position than Vix, and possibly even Zayt is from when we left off with him. So we'll see what Shark does in these waters. Has to cross a river to get to the zone. Now just 40 seconds left. Use so much utility from getting shot, as you mentioned, Clay. Look at the amount of trios out of their side by side. These guys will have to stick together and play box to box really, really fluidly with each other. And that is kind of their play style. So they're in their element, but I don't think where they exactly want to be.
Where no one wants to be is eliminated. We saw Bucky, Kanata go down. Don't know if Creo went down there as well, but a big trio that going down early sub second zone is really, really, really troubling. Maybe just a third-party atmosphere. Maybe they're not warmed up right now. There's still 5 more games to go. But not looking good for them as Calc, Zexro, and Macwood are rotating in very well. Effectively, they're in a really good spot. They've got a lot of shields. You see them using chug splashes. Mats are good. But as this is going to go up that caddy corner hill, as you see Inpin trying to make it now, it's going to be harder and harder for them to rotate as all those little arrows around them are going to start to congest them and start to look back.
Easiest way to kind of get out of the sight line of those arrows is to go for different elevated rotation paths. So right now, Enpen, Aspect, Zunis going through a river side of the mountain. Not many different people can see them all the way from up top who are actually looking back. Team Solo Calc here are going to be looking to also slightly edge in, kind of a pit stop though, a fight breaking out towards the bottom. Edits are there for Calc, but can he wrap it up?
I don't know. This pressure, he is just stopped. He got a couple shots on, and now they said, you know what, it's not worth it. We got to rotate in. 40 seconds on that zone. They want to try to get in and save as many mats as they can. You see him building out of wood here. Very good priority. We do see Stretch and Zayt going to go down to Clix and Zypha in the feed, so they are out. Doom's domain has now gone over to Clix, Zypha, and Nosh. That's really, really big because we've heard a lot of talk about Dooms on Twitter, and now they're not able to show up.
Not only that, I believe that we saw Nosh, Clix, and Zypha actually get 1 elimination already on a full trio. So 2 trios eliminated, whether it was a duo or not that was left over from one of those trios. That's a lot of loot to be able to pick and choose from, especially Doom's Domain's huge mystical bomb. So they'll have the explosive nature of that POI in combination with their playstyle. That'll be very dangerous. Right now, though, Calc, in a world of danger, his entire trio, while Polarized sits nearby, not being affected, they're getting storm held. Reversed right under them too, could be the next target. How much longer will these shots actually come out? These 3 trios who are on the mountain, you can see them at the bottom right side of the screen on the mini map, will be basically dictating who can move in and out to zone at what frequency. Calc might not be able to make it there.
He might not, but I want to point out the collective tournament earnings of today's player is enough to purchase 7 Bugattis. Valued at $3 million a piece. That is a lot of money that these players have won, and they're playing to win just a little bit more. As we go on the other side of things, we've got Crip and DP Chew. Arab did go down early in this game, but they're actually in a very good spot as a duo on the backside of the mountain. As Arab says, dead side all the time. That's exactly what his trio is doing to rotate, and they're in a very good spot. Unlike the XZ trio, where Shark has gone down and the pressure is going to come through, they have to rely on Knight's ping and Knight's building ability to be able to get him up, and they do. They have a Bandage Bazooka there as well. So right now, the pressure is stopped, but it's going to be very, very hard for them to rotate, with people already knowing that they just went down.
I'm so surprised they're still on the spot. I guess it was just that one fight that we watched. Knight getting taken down, a lot of HP, and then shielding back up. Right now, the retaliation of shots is there for him. They land towards the south side of the map, and the zone is southern by all means, so it's really, really weird to see that these guys haven't actually made it safely into zone fast enough compared to teams who are landing even near Steamy Stacks. Really interesting. Still, though, they're making the move now. Every single individual has at least 50 shields, Shark being the lowest, but we're on point with Knight. AV leading the charge as he usually does. I would say the pseudo IGL, or at least the pseudo rotator for this trio. We'll see exactly where they stop off next to so many other bases, but they're safe for now at least.
And Zexro just got knocked as well. Another big name getting knocked. And Jamper getting knocked as well by Degen. So 2 big names out of 2 really big trios not able to make this rotate. They still could be revived and picked back up, but it's going to be very, very hard as you see Boyle, Rocane looking to set up on this edge and try to find anybody. Collazo going to get caught just sleeping and goes down. Mackwit going to return fire there onto Owl, but Collazo now left in the hands of D-Roller and see if he can do anything there as Mackwit takes down Owl. Boyle gonna get the last elimination. Cal down there as well. So Cal, Zexro, and Mac able to make something happen. You see, they did get the res. Zexro is alive there, but now getting sprayed at by Boyle. This is where they were just moments ago. This duo putting so much pressure there onto the trio, but right now they're more concerned about getting that little bit of loot there with the harpoon. They almost pull half in, half out.
I think Degen gets a knock on Lazard P as Gandhi's entire trio gets wiped out. D-Roller also went down to Calc, so one of Collazo's teammates going down there too. Looks like that trio's in trouble. Back over with one of the oldest names in the book right now, Wrigley. Playing with Dictate and Tendi. I would classify this trio not more so as amateurish, but the ones to make, I would say, the most unexpected plays, the most classic plays you'd be able to think of. What you would basically do if you were thinking, but things that would actually work out. So lots of perseverance available in this trio in terms of the calls they're going to be able to make. Always going to be sticking together and playing that classic style of Fortnite. Now tuning back in with COD Genesis, Feared, and Kwa, who have somehow gained one of the most favorable positions in the map and maybe even editing up quietly towards height. I mean, big base on a snowy mountain. It looks like we're going right back to Polar Peaks.
Throwing it back as well. They look at how many eliminations they have. 7 eliminations on this trio. They came out swinging. They said, you know what, you're going to contest us. You're going to block us on rotate. No. We are not playing that game today. We are here to try to eliminate everyone.
And eliminations matter so much right now because placement hasn't even been handed out yet. It's top 12 when that comes in. Animal looking for his own elimination, possibly the second one for this trio that he has to get. Going for that wall control. It's almost going to be there. If this edit does come through, the person on the other side, Npen, will be in trouble. I believe he's also on Aspects trio, so this is going to be some classic X-duo trio clashing action. But I don't think these guys are going to be able to get in just too fast just yet.
And they already got that knock there onto Zuni's. Aegis was the one to be able to pick it up. They actually haven't gotten the elimination. Not yet that I see, and they need it. Look at Animal's builds. 25 builds. His inventory. 1 flopper for heals. Aegis has no shield, no minis on them as well. They're in a very, very bad spot. Zone is pulling off the mountain. And if we all know competitive Fortnite, once it goes off the mountain, it has a very high probability of going right back up the mountain. And trios is a lot easier to make that rotate with that tunnel, but it's going to be so hard if they have absolutely no mobility to do so.
As they almost catch one person right here. Not only is it going off a mountain, it's actually coming right back up, I think, afterwards, at least towards a little bit of an incline. So all these low ground teams are going to be at a slight advantage the whole way through, especially close by towards the zone. Right now on height, though, many different teams trying to make plays. Calc is somewhat up there, but no Mass to be able to hold on. COD Genesis actually knocks him down, and while everyone else is just catching up to the rotate, one height team will be defined, I believe, by the time this zone does close.
And it may be Jamper, Avery, and Bugha as they are looking for it as well. You know, they got Star Salute, they got Crash Pads and Shockwaves in their inventory. Playing second height right now, trying to force everybody down, but they're getting sprayed at from behind. They got to be careful. Mats are not looking good here for Jamper. I think that's why he's trying to look back to try to find any elimination that he can grab. Also carrying the harpoon will get him a lot of loot as Zone does kind of go back off the mountain. We're back on board here with Fire, COD Genesis, and their teammate is 4, 3, and 2 eliminations now reigning in.
These guys are only stepping it up and also taking the risk to hold height this early. Starting off in the 6th zone, now to the 7th. Bugha already gave it up, crashing all the way down to low ground. Now the shot's still coming in. This is why you stay on height. You get these angles. COD is there with the beams looking for his 5th elimination. Has a lot of mats to use as well, tarping up for his whole team. The zone is close to mountains, but if it ends up going down even lower, these guys will be at an inherent disadvantage. Bouncers, though, available to make up for it. What is the next play here for COD? He's looking for the shots. He's looking to get in on edits towards this box. There's a whole trio right below him. Zexro, the last one alive for TS Calc. And he's trying to move in and see if he can get any more placement, any more eliminations on his last legs here on his life.
10, 9, 8 builds remaining. No, got shield to pop, but no white heels, no bandages, no floppers. No mech gets a Zypha gonna be sprayed out of the air. Nosh gonna be sprayed out of the air as well. They're going down. Only clicks remaining. Caught Genesis here to play. He said, you know what? You may have thought I was a little bit underrated coming into today, but they wanted to show that they are a top trio. Zone continues to go off the mountain though. Shio said it, they are at a very bad disadvantage if players continue to have shockwaves. Avery did go down, so now it's just Bugha and Jeffers. Dextro didn't just fell. Top 7 players remaining. Bugha 4 shockwaves remaining, so they are saving it to the last possible moment. Only 10 builds remaining. They're gonna have to make a play, and that's why he's dropping down. He doesn't want to get focused. Shots coming through. 107 there onto the player. Is he gonna get the edit? No. Jamper gonna get the in, but Bugha gonna go down, and Jamper gonna go down as well. I think that's the exit trio of Av, Shark, and Knight.
They get taken out, but at the same time, Hike gets taken off as well. So all the early contenders, the people who were strong coming into the 5th zone, have now become shambles moving into late game. Caught Gen, the last one alive, with just 120 effective HP, getting sprayed down to just no builds whatsoever. And like he got almost every elimination, he will be taken out in a very similar manner, trying to survive and get down to low ground. That's the wrap up, but so many elims from him. Now it's Xset versus the likes of Acorn and Jack.
And Xset picking up a lot of eliminations as well, and they've got a perfect little tarp to just go up the mountain. They can recycle this old tarp, and it's so good because they are low on match. Polarized inside this box. We see him trying to get in. Shockwave gonna come through. It's gonna cause Av a little bit of an issue, but he's not even gonna be able to capitalize. Builds are trying to come through. Bouncer trying to get fancy with edit, but he's gonna find Av in the back. Shot's gonna come through. He is gonna take him down, but the turnaround gonna come through. Now Rokane and Voil trying to make something happen. Polarized went down, so Knight and Shark are still there, but Shark just went down, so Knight down to Clicks is up above, it seems like. Rokane and Voil trying to make something happen as well. 30 builds. Don't know if they have shockwaves. Knight does 4 shockwaves in inventory, but only 6 builds. He's gonna have to make a play. Jack and Slacks up above. Shots coming through. Boyle gonna get dropped down by Knight. It's chaos here on the low ground. The shots coming through. Knight gonna be able to pick up 1, maybe 2. No, he does. He picks up the shot on the Rokane, and now it's a 3v1. But he gets that elimination there onto Acorn as well. So it's very, very good. A 2v1. He's got the bandage bazooka, but is it enough? Is it charged up enough? He's gonna have to try to make the play and try to get away. But Jock keeping the pressure up, and Slacks is healthy enough. I think he's gonna go down. No, he got the knock, but not the finish.
Knock and not the finish, but what a performance to stay alive by Knight. Getting all the way up to 2nd place. 2 people alive, though, for the winning squad of Slacks up top. What a first game to look at, a first game to see. Let's see how that looks over at the leaderboard right after this. Psych,
Wow.
no break there. But we're here to see and talk about how that game goes down. What the wow is completely correct, Clay. That was an insane game on 2 different fronts.
If Knight had a millisecond more, I 100% give that game to Knight. And you called it. You said the Xset trio. They're doing something a little bit different over there at the Fortilla. And whatever they're doing is working, because Knight, with 2 back-to-back max damage shots onto players in the end game, in zone, running away for his life, takes down Jack, almost able to clutch it up. Oh, that was an insane performance there from Knight.
And we could talk about their game story for just a little bit too. They started off Fortilla uncontested, got into a box fight that really put Knight down to low HP, took a lot of utility out of their entire loadout, but then after that came back and slapped really, got every single trio down from the beams, and then after that got to play their game on low ground with an AV at the front end of that tarp. So good game from them and good clutch up all the way to 2nd from Knight.
Very good game around, and we have some replays to break down what all happened in that game as we're here with Voil, Rokane. We don't have TJ as they did go down. This is on to Colazo as Al was already down because of TSM Calc, and then we had the team TSM Calc there, and Colazo going down as well. But as Shio talked about, COD Genesis, Feared, and Qua up there too early, and this is the danger of Shockwaves being in the game. We saw it way back when in Trios first time around, is if you were on the high ground very early, you were very susceptible to being taken in that 5th, 7th, and 8th zone.
Yeah, it's going to be really tricky for you to just kind of survive in your box. Your floors are privy to get broken into. Your box is privy to just get destroyed to anyone who wants to have a say on high ground. So all those mid-ground teams just fizzled down straight to Knight, and he got siphon after siphon after siphon from the start, really. I feel like even if AV was or wasn't taken out, they could have won that entire thing earlier on. But Polarized made that happen with a bouncer shockwave combo that almost actually made him be in nice position. Still, that was a sick game. Let's see exactly what else is going to happen in game 2. Before that, though, we got Monster Deep Face with a little bit of news.
A little bit of news. A little bit of news, man. We got more news than that. We got a giveaway coming up here, guys. As we mentioned at the start of this, after every game, stick around because it's not just leaderboards that are being built right now. It's stuff for the community. Up first here, we have a giveaway, again, all on behalf of the GG Enterprise team. Could we get confirmation exactly what it is that we're giving away here? I think we have even graphics to show it off too. Check it out right here. So it's gonna be the Nano Leaf Kit. And the GG Enterprise team is going to be dropping a Gleam. So enter in. That's right. You can do that right now. The Nano Leaf Kit. If you guys know about, streamers and these lights, these things are expensive, y'all. So pick up these giveaways right here. There's going to be so many of them. Yes, exactly. GG Enterprise going crazy. Enter in, guys. This is for y'all. Yeah, feel free to go. We can toss off the screen as people are starting to jump on into that giveaway there. With that being said, what a ridiculous game. Like, what a crazy end game we just saw, guys. Shio called it, XF team, like, just going wild with it. But before that, there was another team on high ground with 11 eliminations. Before that, I think we jumped into Booga's perspective. They were racking up like 6 or 7 too. So a couple of key teams that I think we all shed light on in the early stages before the games even went down, all unfolding to be true, Shio.
Yeah, like in that game, that was kind of the shift or the duality of height and low ground and what it means to control it from the 6th zone and then take it all the way in that night zone. The team that you were referring to, Monster, was, I think, Kajen, Feared, and Kwa, who just controlled the lobby through eliminations and dominated from height, but could not hold on to the very end of the game.
Absolutely crazy. And Clay, what was your team coming into this one from the start? Because I'm going to have to throw you on the hot seat now.
Well, they may have gotten eliminated right off the bat at Stark by Booga and his trio, but I've got good hopes for Scented, Edgy, and Commandment. Maybe Commandment won't get sprayed out of the air this time, or something happens where he's not able to get to where he wants to go. But I got good hopes. I got really good hopes. I'm really hoping that they don't make me, regret that choice.
Definitely. I mean, listen, Booga, Jamper, and Avery, they were popping off. I wanted to shed some light onto them because Booga's been on a tear lately, man. He's been on a track of just greatness once again. I feel like there was a moment in time where after the World Cup, the team-based game modes weren't quite going in his favor. Could have been the state of the game, the meta, whatever the case would be, the pressure, right, of being a champ. But now all of a sudden he's in his groove, man. Solos coming out on top. Trios making good strides here. And I mean, the XSET team themselves have also been on this like crazy recent tear lately.
And the good thing for Booga is that his whole trio was alive there, right? They only ended up losing one. It wasn't just him put in a solo situation. If Booga can get that, if he can get his whole trio to in-game like the EdSec trio did, they are going to destroy it. But that has been a trouble for Booga in a lot of team-based modes. Is it always just kind of been him at the end of it all? They all go down. It's just him trying to fight.
The thing is, like, all these trios you guys are naming are contested off spawn and have issues from mid to early game. XSET is not. They have Fortilla for free every single game, every single scrim, and if they don't, they win it and are flawless in execution. So I just feel like no other team can really compete with like the level of a pedestal these guys have moving from game to game.
Let's talk about like Roshar. That dude was alive too, making big things happen. The clutch factor is a 2-man team. I mean, that's the setting that we're used to seeing them coming out of duos, right?
It is, and I think that's one of the reasons that they work so well. It's just trust. They have 2 people who are just used to playing with each other all the way since the early days of comp, and at the same time, they have one person coming in who has been the most malleable player, I think, in NA East. That's AV. Played with so many different people, Chap, other trios as well on the come-up, plays and practices with some of the best players in the region as well. And it's just an easygoing dude that is really, really manageable in working different positions within a TARP, within a trio, and within fights. So you combine a duo with AV, you just have complete success.
100%. Go ahead, Clay.
I think his work with Chap there really helped define him into that malleable player. Chap, a very, very, very great IGL. But that allowed AV to kind of fill out what he needs to do in a team as 2 really strong individual players. And then he could come together and just be that glue that the XSET trio needed.
Yeah, exactly. I do believe he's been a part of that drive-in factor of the success of the team. Now let's just change gears here. Let's talk about Chat, man. Just trioing up now with Skittles and Coop. Coop, who's like arguably on top of the game right now, solos back-to-back, played another community tournament, took first place as a trio event. What is that team dynamic like when you have someone like Coop who's a proven solo player, and then you bring in an IGL like Chat who knows how to play endgame, like, better than probably anyone else?
From the blueprint side, I feel like it's just putting big reputations together, right? I say we have the undisputed best solo player in the game right now when it comes to Coop just winning back to back over and over again. NA East almost qualifying for EU as well, and then you put him with possibly, I would also say, most undisputed best IGL, who's been playing with so many different players and has been teaching pros and casuals alike how to work the game from a cranial standpoint. Chap. Put them together with Skittles as well, who has a reputation for being this aggressive warlord and at the same time popping off at the same time as Coop. These guys have huge reputations. This is about that. How does that reputation transfer to results?
And I think Coop kind of fills the same role that Av did when they were playing together, right? Both very, very, very good solo players when they were picked up by Chap, and now dominating together as a trio.
Yeah, 100%. Let's not forget, Skittles just won Ninja Battles as well. A little first place for him. And he put together what was a very unorthodox team. He got in the likes of Arkaram, who's another mastermind, right, as far as the Fortnite scene goes. So I think there's a lot of resemblance in the players Skittles has been aligned himself with in players like Coop. And then, of course, like you said, bringing in Chap. I've been watching their competitive play just in preparation for, what is the competitive scene. And I mean, his communication is literally bar none. He knows how to play. And I think that's what's most excited. The leaderboards are being prepared right now for those of you guys at home. It's all happening in real time. You guys saw there, obviously, beyond the beginning, like the client, everything is chilling. Like we are in real time. We're as close to real time it gets. So the leaderboards are going to be happening right after the games, and the battle buses are going to be spinning up as well on the dot. As those are all happening, we'll have some fly-ins. We'll get you guys caught up, and we'll have a link in the chat soon too for the open scrim. So I'm gonna leave it to you guys as the games kind of develop. We'll get the leaderboards caught up. They're coming shortly. But Clay, Shayo, go ahead, take it away. Game number 2.
Yeah, I think leaderboards actually might be ready, but we are in the bus. So let's jump straight to game number 2 and update those leaderboards as they happen. I mean, Clay, what are you looking forward to this game?
I'm looking forward to seeing if people can make it off spawn, right? We talked about Scented, Edgy, Commandment not making it off spawn. We got eliminated very quickly on by Booga, Jumper, and Avery there at Stark Industries. Other players as well getting contested all around the map. We'll see. Also, what can the XZ Trio do this time around? Are they going to be contested? Are they going to be contested on their rotation? It can change on a whim. We know competitive Fortnite. We know players like to change up their spots at the whim of things. Maybe they get a little bit mad. They get a little beef on Twitter, and they want to change it up.
I said by game 4 that had the competition wrapped, but it's game number 2 right now that's going to be underway. Birthday bus is all in full effect, and I think everyone here is going to be celebrating what mistakes to fix. That entire analogy / metaphor didn't go too well, but regardless, let's see what these guys can get done and fix up, as Clay mentioned, for their drop spots. We'll be tuning in with Rocks this time, dropping towards Starks.
Interesting to see that they're going here as well. I think they may go a little lower towards Risky Reels. Don't really know if they want to get that contention happening. Opposite bus passes we just saw there. Coral Castle kind of contested a little bit, but main POI that's going to be contested here is Dooms, and we'll see if Bizzle, Mega, and Dubs are going to be able to get Doom's weapons here. Already going to be at the house, and you can actually tell where Doom is going to be as you fly over. You can either see him there in the opening of the helicopter pit, and if he's not there, he's going to be inside the house. So it's very, very easy to spot out where you want to land, and if Bizzle chose right, they're going to be in a good spot. And look, Edgy took down Avery right away. Booga down. Commandment is down as well. Edgy is now down. It's up to Scented versus Jamper. This is going to be very, very, very close. We'll keep our eye on that feed.
Yeah, Starks is actually getting heated up while the Steamy Stacks trio hasn't even landed yet. The 2 trios, actually. So that's actually going to be huge, too. And Clay, I know you predicted that trio, but one of the reasons I don't like predicting Starks or Dooms for winning everything, even though it's one of the strongest parts over the whole map, is just because you have this contestation. Different teams end up winning up over and over again. It's 2 really good teams that are contesting each other.
And Monster asked you asked what I wanted to see, Scented and them winning, and they do. They take down Booga, Avery. I believe Jumper has fallen as well, so they come out on top of Starks Industries POI.
Next game might be completely different then, So it's just this back and forth is not going to be, I think, good for either team. But you have to try to solidify your drop spot. You have to try to just claim what you can, especially in these smaller tournaments right before the FNCS does start up. That is one of the themes. We'll see how far these guys go, because if it's just going to be back and forth, 50% win rate between both teams, I don't think anything will change up when that official competition starts.
And I did just get word that Jamper is actually still alive, so he's got a chance to make something happen, but I don't think he'll be able to get those reboot cards. The point holds as well for Dooms, just as well as Starks. If you are contesting this POI, it's gonna go back and forth, and we've seen that on Twitter all the time. As we see, this will win this game, they will win the next game. This will win this game, they will win the next game, and that's not enough in these FNCS and in these third parties to get you to that first place spot. Like, for example, who currently in first place, I believe, is Av, Knight, and Rogue Shark, but they're tied with Slacks, Jack, and Acorn, who did pick up that victory royale.
Yeah, we'll dive into that leaderboard actually a little bit while things kind of slow down and people farm up in every single POI. Clay mentioned it, the Xite trio, AV, Knight, Rogue Shark, first place, 26 points. They got second in that game. Knight's clutch actually makes them tie with Flax, Jack, and Acorn. I feel like because the tiebreakers might not be working correctly right now, Acorn, Jack, and Slacks on the leaderboard are possibly in first place because they have that win from last game. Still, they're tied on points, just shows how much work the Xite trio really did from second and making up the placement points they missed out on from not getting first. Right behind them is a trio that was just on your screen, Zypha, Nosh, and Clicks. And after that is COD, Genesis, Fear, and Qua with fifth place in that last game, but so many eliminations to keep them in fourth overall.
Again, prizing goes all the way down to 10th, so 10th currently being Zuni's, Inpen, and Aspect there. 10 points, so still a lot of room to make plays, especially for this team right here, Zypha, Nosh, and Clicks, as they did very, very well off spot, and Zypha gonna throw that gas can, gonna try to get a little explosion to break up those builds. He's built out of metal, so it's not gonna burn him, it's just gonna get that explosive going off, and now Nosh and Clicks have an angle to spray. Panda's gotta get over, Stowe's gotta put some pressure back. Nosh is trying to put pressure there. He's gonna take a lot of damage there from Panda. The continued pressure up from Zypha is gonna get some tags there. The builds are burning. They built out of wood and now quickly realize they have to waste all of their hard mats to try to stay alive. Daxter's got an angle though here on Zypha. If he could just make the play to be a little bit more aggressive, you see him just waiting in the wings there. Zypha gonna go aggressive. Will Daxter pounce when will get the shots he does? Only one shot gonna connect. This is back and forth, but Nosh, Clicks, and Zypha are kind of owning this fight.
The fight does take a little bit of a break though. Zypha's kind of the support man here while these guys get close and personal for the boxes. But if I'm still here, I'm scared. We can talk patterns of tournaments when Zypha, Nosh, and Clicks actually start to heat up, especially from game one. They stay heated. They keep pushing forward. And on the elimination feed, it's Zayt getting taken out by Dubs. Mega, though, getting traded, I believe, unless he took out Saf. So these big POIs, Doom's Domain, Stark Industries, both of them getting completely flipped over this game.
And a lot of people expected them to go one way. They expected Zayt to be on top. They expected Bugha to be on top. And we're now seeing why contesting a POI is so dangerous as a trio. It just does not work, especially right here. This is not a major trio, but Clicks gonna get a huge spray on the Daxter and is gonna get the knock. Has to be careful though, the pressure is coming through. The head is coming out as well. He's gonna keep the pressure off him. Shots coming through. Stowe gonna go down there to Nosh, and now a 3v1 scenario. It's just, well, they're all eliminated now as I say that. Unfortunately, Panda gonna fall just late.
They're really fast, and they make quick work of that. Basically using Zypha as the bait while these guys just chase over, these guys being Clicks and Nosh, chase the players that are chasing Zypha. Kind of a cat and mouse game. But as that gets wrapped up, let's tune into Doom's Domain and see exactly what's breaking down here. Bizzle and Mega being taken out, now just up to Dubs to try to survive against two players. The read was going to be there though, so looks like Zayt actually got picked up and revived off the knock, and Dubs, Bizzle, and Mega take another L in the POI.
And I think I saw Alex Ackwood and Dexter rotating in. I think this is the pressure coming in. They also are up and trying to change the trash can. I think they're going to get in, but they're going to leave one player behind. This is good for them. They can get away for the time being. Staff actually able to get through as well, but they're going to be followed. Staff down very low is going to get down there by Calc. Zayt and Stretch are just going to run away. They don't have the match. They have the gauntlets, and that is what they want. They want to get out. They don't really care about the vault right now because their player is down. They just got to go. And look, Ease, Blake, and Cease are rotating into the POI as well. Everybody wants Doom's gauntlets.
Zayt's the one that has it though, and he's going to be able to escape. I think Stretch might be doubling back and waiting to possibly get in position for that card. With Cease actually building up and Calc in the fight, it's going to be doable, I think, for this trio to be able to at least get Staff's card, maybe move over to Salty Springs and get the revive. We'll watch Max POV as Blake's getting bullied on Doom statue. They're actually breaking off and moving over towards where zone is. I think we have a leaderboard update numerically statistically on your screen. So let's check it out as we watch the gameplay. There it is. Slacks, Jack, and Acorn in first place.
And look at that. Av, Knight, and Rogue Shark on the back of Knight's performance there are able to tie the amount of points that first place has with that extra 5 points for the Victory Royale. So that just shows you how many eliminations they were getting and how hard they were slaying out towards that end. And even in the early game, we have to keep our eye on them. Shio pointed them out as his team to watch. And I would agree, you know, they are dominating here today. Eclix, Nosh, and Zypha just got a whole trio wipe. Have got Sweaty Sands uncontested now to themselves to farm up whatever they want. And they're looking really good. But where's COD Genesis? Where's Loyal? Where's Polarized? And where's Animal?
And Kajen's there in fourth with his trio, Voil right behind him. So both guys that we saw all the way towards the backside of that game are surviving. Boogie Jumper Avery, who had control of that low ground beforehand, are seventh place overall. 7 zone is where they lost control completely as everything was closing down. Past this though, let's talk patterns a little bit as we get into storm action against, I think, Blake's trio and Calc, Zex, and Mac. This is not a garbage can I think that Mac expected to take, but I think is happy to find some bandages. Not going to hold on to them here just yet. But talking about the leaderboard patterns, I think Night Shark and AV just need one more game, and I feel like they're going to be taking the whole competition away. Every time they get 2 early games in high placements, they end up placing at least top 3 in the overall tournament of that day. Past that, COD Genesis, Feared, and Qua never actually play that well after good performances earlier on. So it's going to be interesting to see if COD Genesis can actually hang on to this top placement in game number 1 and continue the pattern of hopefully winning over and over again, or at least getting towards that end game portion of height. It's just not going to be expected, but if he does, it'll be against the grain and very good for the way these guys play.
Now, focusing on Macwoods and Calc, they were in 11th place right now, and they're sitting in zone. They've got the chug splashes there on Zexro's perspective, but Z's putting pressure back down. No one really taking the shield damage that we always see. Calc still's got that Volkey. I think they want to just try to stay alive as long as they can to get in, but Calc takes damage, and now down to 30 HP. Macwood down very, very low. They're going to have to make a play as Sprite falls. Zexro trying to get down. I think they've decided, Macwood, you're going to be the one. Just hold them off while we go get it. But no, Macwood gets down and the chug splashers are going to come through. They are going to keep him alive for the time being, but they're going into a very, very hard place to fight. That Volt, you can only go in and out one different direction. And if they push into that, as Seas, Blake, and Keys do, they're going to have a very hard time defending it.
Just so confused as to why you're not going to be sharing that chug splash with Calc at least. I mean, they do get one of the bandage cannons available for him to use, so maybe it's just time efficiency. But still, completely open vault for them. Will they be able to move out? It's not only that. What does this mean for their tournament overall? Because last game, yes, they did slightly well, not as well as they expected. With this much delayed time, I can't expect big results from game 2 for Team Solo Calc right there, but we'll tune into them in a little bit. On the other side of BBG, we have Bucky, we have Creo, and then as well from TSM Kanata.
And they're alive right now, which is more than they were last game. They went down pretty early, but good to see them being there. Stormsurge is going to play a factor here. 13 players do need to go down. Impin looking to make one of those players is just going to hit a body shot, and from that angle, I have no idea how he didn't hit a headshot, but look, Aspect there to try to put some damage back. Zuni's up above to try to put some pressure down, but this is not a fight that you want to take. You got that damage off, you put it through your Stormsurge. You're not really looking to go in right now.
And this is such a cool strategy that's kind of been refined by this trio. I think over the entire season, plus the season before as well, through all the trio cash cups, all the trio different tournaments that were going down back then in season 3, they've been landing the authority throughout the entire time, just looking for a way to push every other trio off and really get their Storm Surge tags down accurately and fast, just like they are now with big bases. Finally having control, one of the first times I've seen these guys not actually die off spawn multiple games in a row. So second game for them staying alive. That's really good for their progress as a trio.
And Clicks, Cypher, Nosh, all the way in from Sweaty. They are using a little bit of those fish, not as useful as we see the last couple seasons with the introduction of more of them. They're looking to get some shots there into Arab. Class going to take down Furious. In the meantime, though, they're in a very good spot, 676 above Storm Surge. And this is what's good kind of about fighting early game. If you're able to fight with your entire trio, is that you get so much Storm Surge damage and you do not have to worry about it for the rest of the game. As Arab trying to get some tags, they may be low on Storm Surge. They may just want to get these players off of them as they're trying to rotate in. Zareb is actually going aggressive. It looks like they want to go in, and I think that's why. I think they are below Storm Surge. There's no reason for them to go this aggressive right now, this early in the game, unless they need something from this trio.
Clix might be baiting it to a complete wood-built base, but has a safe room of metal and brick where they can actually get the box fighting down. Now with no more wood pickaxes or for wood walls to pickaxe, Arab, DP2, and Crypt kind of slow down. Now getting baited in all the way to low. Arab's actually isolated, and Clix goes for that first shot. It lands, but Zypher takes a big hit.
A trade for a trade that could have gone either way. It looks like it's in favor of Clix and Company. Is Trio gonna go down there? Bucky got a knock as well, so that fight continues to happen. We're over here to the EU trio of Hen, Save It, and Forceling, but they're getting Storm Surge rained down upon them. Shots coming through, and trying to get something. They're trying just to get a little bit of tag. A 66 not going to be enough. No, it is 29 above now, but is it both of his duo mates are down, and now the trio completely down. Gandhi, Joji, and TJ going to be the recipients of all those eliminations.
Usually when you say a trio is electrified or electrifying and heating up, it's a good thing. But over there, for the EU boys, it's not looking too hot, not too energetic, not too electric whatsoever. Just Surge removing them from the game. Hate to see it.
Hate to see it, as well as Aegis going down to Creo, but Creo going down to Degen, and everyone just starting to fall. We said 13 players that need to go down, and now we're just down to 4 players before that Storm Surge stops activating. And this could be where we see that rise of the sniper rifle come back in. Right? You talked about aspects of them really prioritizing it in their loadout, because it just gives you that initial 105 minimum damage. Is this player trying to be aggressive onto Voil? You saw the purple lightning raining down. Voil not even going to really worried about trying to go for this elimination. He knows that they're going to go down here momentarily, with Bucky going down, AJ going down to Storm Surge there. Tendi falling to Creo. So there's a really big back and forth there between Creo's trio and somebody else there, as TJ, Voil, and Rokane just looked to back off. They realized, hey, fighting that one player that's getting Storm Surge is not really worth it.
Still a troublesome position. They don't have complete control of this hill. They're sharing a base with 2 other trios. Not really the same thing that we saw from them before. They had a solidified base. They had every angle to shoot from. With that type of base, you're not going to be able to have all the shot selections in the world. You might just be forced into never getting another tag or having any other saves. Don't want to be silenced that early.
If you saw there, Bucky, Creo, Commandment were fighting off against the Xset trio. So that could spoil troubles for them if they're not able to get out and rotate away from this.
I mean, we saw XF fight last game too, and it actually worked out for them. They got the tags they needed. It kind of pushed them towards a place where they were forced to make closer plays to other trios and stay in vicinities of many different people and get into positions for nice, easy refreshes over and over. So maybe these guys like to fight and stay box to box. Maybe that's their game plan. We'll see, because currently they're in second place.
Blake, he's flying and going down as well to Edgy, Scented, and Commandment. As we pop back out, we'll show that leaderboard just one more time so you can keep up to date with who is where. As you see, as he's going down as well, I think that's Blake's entire trio out of the game. Scented, Edgy, and Commandment. Stretch and Zayt also went down, but they went down to Blake's trio. So a quick little 1-2 pickup there by Scented and Edgy. Got a team that was just off fighting and got the eliminations. But back to the leaderboard. First place, Slacks, Jack, Acorn. Second place, AV, Knight, and Rogue Shark.
The 2 hot people to watch, or hot trios to watch. Animal Agers, Degen 2, the trio full of potential, always played within other duos, teams, and we're very important cogs to those wheels and machines. But this time, those individual cogs are building an entire new robotic beast, I would say, of a trio. I just want to see how these guys play, who ends up being the leader, who ends up being that support player. Knight actually being taken down by Furious while we watch Animal on the hunt. So Xset actually being affected. He's actually only knocked down right now, though, so the finish is not there. They could possibly get that revival. But as we watch Animal, Agers, and Degen move over, we can see exactly how messy the bases are for the center point of the zone.
And they're trying to get to that dead side as you see him rotating around. You see a big open area to that southeast, as well as to the northeast. No one wanting to be there in the middle. No nade stacks here this season, but they don't want to chance it as we go over to Aspect's perspective. as he's looking to just try to get something. Knight is going to be finished. Arab is going to be finished as well. So Class is fighting, Arab is fighting, Knight is fighting as well. Vivid now on your screen. Something we haven't really talked about. Getting picked up by C9, kind of coming back here. He's never really left the competitive scene, but he hasn't really been playing to what we know Vivid is capable of. Now with Suzuki and Lazar P, though, maybe able to make something happen.
He's been grinding the whole time, and I know a lot of people like to equate this trio to be kind of classic, kind of veterans. For me, though, the storyline for these guys is absolute evolution. Every player just elevating the way they play the game, learning more things, becoming that much more mechanical and synergistic as teammates. It's cool to see. Kijabo and Rokane unfortunately missed that hunt. But I'm done with that classic tag for these guys. I'm done with the boomer handles for that trio. From what I've been seeing so far, even with Vivid signing the C9, it's just absolute evolution of gameplay.
That's a great way to put it. Just because they are the older players in Fortnite does not mean they're done here. Does not mean they can't get into these top tier lobbies and absolutely destroy. Because Vivid, like you said, he has been grinding his butt off and has been putting in that work to get his mechanics better than what they were back in the day. As you see, Coop is going to fall there to Animal. A lot of players falling. AV is going to take down Gabe, though, so that's really good for them. But Knight, I think, is still down, and that's not good for them. He was their clutch factor last game.
Gotta remember, though, that those three are basically clones of each other when it comes to the skills they can possess in clutching, in leading, in supporting. So even though they're one man down, it's not going to be absolutely hopeless. A clutch could come through. Got to remember they were one man down as that final showdown started last game. Clay's taking out Hoopfishy, Crunchy also going down to Notch. So that trio picking up even more as this evolved trio starts to rotate. A big shockwave sends Vivid horizontal. Both his teammates completely vertical up top. They'll have to kind of get by with each other once again. This is the trio that took out Knight. It was Furious who got that crucial tag.
And it's one of those trios that have very, very good individual performance. Illis, Furious, and Riverson. But can they translate it to trios? We know Furious, a very, very great solo player, but can he play with a team? Can he get where they need to go? As we see Gandhi going to go down there to Animal. They have rotation here in their inventory, so they can make it. We're not really on a mountain. We're kind of on an incline here. It's not as big as the one we saw last game, but not that big of a worry. But what I think is worrisome for this trio is that they do have only that one elimination, and I don't think they're that capable of being aggressive when they need to be.
I think that's just because they have such different playstyles coming towards each other right now, though. Box to box, so many people involved. COD Genesis actually taken down by Class. So two of his teammates will stay alive. This is the 5th place current team, the team that was leading in eliminations last game. Not alive in this game, not going to be able to take and hold height. And the pattern for COD Genesis continues. Popping off in game number 1, disappearing in the other games. Will he show up in 3? I mean, my papers say absolutely not. And the patterns are justifying that so as well. So maybe trouble for his entire trio for these games that will be happening afterwards. Remember, we're playing 6 games. This is game number 2. And endgame is right about to begin.
As you see, Storm Surge will be a factor. Class with Clipstay and Crims trying to shockwave. As you saw, it sent them entirely different ways. Class in a box fight, and he's dominating right now. Has to be careful, though. The wall game taken back, and he does not want a 1v3. You see where Clipstay and Crims are. They're completely different areas, completely different layers. They're working each other. They're working back to each other, and they're trying to get on the same layer, and that's very good. They do it very quickly, but Class getting tagged up, doesn't really have a lot in his inventory. On high ground is actually going to be Illis, Riverson, and Furious. So I talked about them not being aggressive when they needed to be, but they went to high ground.
They took that height, and now they're going to try to hold it just like CODGen did in game 1. But you know the trio patterns. So difficult to hold it from 5th zone all the way towards the end of the game. Let's see if it's possible. I'm looking at trios like DGen, Adrian, and Animal. Second height, looking to boost straight up. I'm looking at Slacks also taking a lot of damage and Acorn being affected. Not going to be able to actually get up either. Slacks goes down to Rokane, it looks like. And Acorn is shot down too. River now is kind of leading the trio as their IGL, looking exactly where they need to move, where they need to tarp, who needs to be split with what. We'll see Illis reconnecting and moving straight forward. Furious will be the insurance all the way up top, but he got beamed.
He got beamed, and I honestly almost looked like Storm Surge as he was standing right above a player that was getting hit by it. And that I was going to make a point about how you were getting Storm Surge tagged on high ground. as we see Quat and Beard going down there. Some big eliminations onto those players. Was RP going down there, Eclipsey, Kanata getting an elimination there onto Spade. AV still in there as well in the mix. That first place, second place team fighting for each other is still in this game. We'll see if they're going to be able to make something happen there. Niddle is in there as well. We see TJ Rokane there. Edgy, Sinton, and Commandment are all alive together.
Looks like AV's left as a solo. Height is still raining down in the likes of Riverson, Furious, and Illest. Everyone is bouncing back on their builds right now. I think it'll be Creo, Bucky, Kanata in the best slow ground spot. Prim slightly towards the right of them as well, with both teammates alive in the likes of Eclipse and Class. Edgy is popping off, gets one elimination onto Animal, more shots coming down. 9 trios left, placement has been handed out. Degen getting knocked by Bucky, while this Height trio is just watching the chaos ensue.
Meteor's going down there to Creo as well. Crimson Company, though, doing well, but they're going to get dropped on. Class going to go down. That's going to be Colazo there. They're trying to get out of this box. They don't want to be in it. Shot coming through. Crim's not going to be able to do it. Eclipse now has to fight Zone and 3 different players, but a fire trap going to be used. Don't know if it was his or the enemy players. He's got to be careful, though. He's in a very bad spot. He does get, there was a down. He actually got the down there on the Owl. Eliminations come through, and that's a lot of Siphon. I think he got all of them. I think it was his trap in a 1 pump. Going to come through. Eclipse going to get the elimination now. Thing on 4, but he's got to get out. Crash Pad's going to be used. Shots coming through. He doesn't have anything back in his inventory, but he cannot pop it. This is effectively him going down. He tries to make a play, but a play cannot be made.
He got all the elims he could. He did as much as he could possible to get more points, but now his trio is deleted from the competition. 5 left. Eclipse, the last elimination on the server. Illest picking up a Rokane Niddle right in front of him to get kind of the finish and the loop, but will have to pop his last flop for Shockwave available for him to just push himself all the way up and get past all these trio, blocking people off right back to the Authority, but there is no control in sight or in play. Niddle is looking box to box for shots. He misses one, but the spray is there right afterwards. Big shot being taken. That pocket Shockwave still available. He's back into the safe zone. Clarity just gets 1 pump and knocked down. Mikey's there, the big 160 with a reference and a transfer of the AR to make afterwards. Niddle is on fire, but his HP's not there. He pushes up. 1 more Shockwave available. It's not going to be there. Furious is still holding on to Heights. A shot off onto Mikey. Him and Riverson as a duo bouncing straight down. Commandment is safe and has the most HP. He could heal out and win the entire game. Edgy's trio is still alive.
And this is what happens if you get this on spawn. If you're able to make it to the end, they're gonna do well. Sinton goes down, shots come through. Furious trying to make a play. He does. Edgy goes down, so it's Commandment versus Furious. But Commandment has full HP, and he's gonna get the spray through. And they pick up the victory royale, so they went from losing off spawn in game number 1 to picking up game number 2.
Okay, so the big POIs absolutely matter. And yes, maybe you get 50-50 off spawn in 1 game or 2, but if you win spawn and then you're winning games after the fact, Clay, you might have a point. This could be the team to watch and the team to take it all the way to game 6.
Hey, look, I'm just happy that you picked a team, they popped off game number 1. I picked a team, they popped off game number 2. Now, game number 3, we're going to have to see who, if it's going to be between them, who's going to battle it out, if they're going to be able to get off spawn. But for Xset, they're completely uncontested. We saw the mid-game fighting for them, not that good this time around.
Yeah, let's check out those replays and see exactly what the specific plays were in that game that switched things over for trios. For here, right now, we're watching Eclipse on your screen get eliminations back to back to back, big pumps, but just no chance to get back into zone. Did those 4 overall matter? And what did Niddle really do to put his team in positions, not only in eliminations, but to just overall for the leaderboards in standings to push forward from? Because he took out big names like Creo, Bucky, and Kanata back to back to back.
And he did it all essentially by himself. 6 eliminations, and we all know Niddle's been around since World Cup Duels days. Even before then, he's kind of been one of those players that has been really good, but I feel like kind of slept on just a little bit. But that performance there from him is really, really, really strong. And if they're able to capitalize on that momentum, it'll be really, really good for them going through.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good prediction in game number 1. You had your trio pop off in game number 2. It seems like the only person down bad right now is Monster D-Face. Maybe he comes back in game number 3, but Monster, how are you taking the L so far?
Hey, it's not taking the L's. I'm about to give out nothing but W's here. I'm giving out W's. You ready? Because chat, we got another giveaway happening right here, right now. Hey, I may be thrown under the bus because my team lost in Stark Industry, but come on, man. His team was in 25th place before all of that, but hold up, guys. Yo, listen. Jump into the chat. GG Enterprise is going to be dropping another giveaway. Like we said, they have $2,000 worth of prizings happening throughout the course of this stream. It's the Razor Viper Ultimate, another giveaway here. So listen, win these prizes. We just gave away the Nano Leaf before that, and now if you guys need a new mouse, I mean, hey, pick up that Razer product, right? Take a look right there. Fantastic piece of hardware right there. Get yourself elevated, y'all. Get this pickup right here just by clicking that link. And yes, guys, Gleam is a trustworthy way to do a giveaway. I saw some people, tagging me, asking me, hey, is it okay if I link my Twitter, etc.? Yeah, absolutely. You link to Gleam, you follow all the socials, do what you have to do. That's it. You'll be well on your way to winning yourself some cool gear. Good luck if you are entering in. So going back to the gameplay here, right? We got a lot going on here. That was one incredible endgame. Another endgame where we see the points being divvied out top heavy. Like if there was a time for a squad like Nido and them to pick up 10 points, 11 points just off of elims alone, like it's now, right? It's when you want to start closing up these gaps. I'm just looking at the old leaderboard here, and you can see that that's making a huge difference. The points at the top when we were going into that game was about a 5-point spread in within the top 5 or so, and then all of a sudden to kick it off, Nosh, Zypha, Clix, Drop a Team, and Sweaty, they start just racking up a serious amount of points in that early game, getting them so much closer to first place, and still pump their way through towards the mid game and towards the end game. And then things just change. Like everything changes, Shia.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I think when we watch all this action, we remember that final trio that we forget. I'm glad you mentioned it. Are those early game eliminations, those mid-game points that people accrue, because eliminations are the only way you can really get points before, I would even say, the 8th zone, the 9th zone. So the fact that Nosh, Zypha, Clix popped off and they were in 3rd place before, and they survived a little bit towards that end game, I feel like they might have a shot at possibly 2nd or 1st place. Because you mentioned it, Commandment, his trio were in 25th place. I don't think that first will really bump them up all the way towards number 1 off of that game.
And hold up, we have some fun storylines developing here at the GG Enterprise tournament. At the start of this, Clay, you mentioned like, hey, we don't get to see these tournaments very often. The colliding and the narratives are going to hit. I mean, it's already unfolding. Zayd's calling out Bizzle on social media. Zayd said the only reason why he feels like he's getting grief right now is because Bizzle was invited and he wouldn't have qualified through the qualifiers if we ran a qualifier. Clay, how do you feel about that? Zayd's always throwing shots.
It's Zayd, so I kind of expected at this point, right? But he's got some very, very great confidence for him, and he's earned it, right? We all know he's earned it over time. But I definitely think Bizzle would have made it through qualifiers. But I don't know. It's going back and forth there. We'll see. If Zayd's as confident as his tweets, he should be winning out every single time.
Well, that's the point, right? We jumped into that game. Dubs and Mega were down, and we saw Bizzle last alive running, and then he just got bodied. And I know this clearly because I told the chat to spam F for Bizzle getting taken out. He got deleted by Stretch and the crew. Big names clashing at major POIs. That's what makes Fortnite interesting. NA doesn't see that very often. It's like a different pace of game between EU and NA. You saw the Storm Surge itself kicking off, I think, at every zone throughout that game specifically. And that was only game 2. Approaching halfway mark now. At what point do you decide, all right, let's change it up?
Where do you change it up to, Monster? Because there's not much space left on the map, especially if you're a high-profile trio that likes big loot. And that being said, Zayd smacked Bizzle, Dubs, and Mega that game. The issue was the fight just took too long. That's why he's using the word grief, because these guys are good players. They can delay that fight. And then, we saw Cal come in off the back, get a few tags. Another trio come in afterwards as well. The fact that they're contested is the issue. It's not even the fact as to who it is. So, Clay, do you have any insight as to where people can go if they don't want to go to Dooms or Starks, and want that type of loot?
I mean, you got to try to find some sort of scavenger out. It's not even going to be that efficient now because 100% chest spawn is not there, right? We see Logjam being controlled by one person. Right? I'm not saying but I'm just saying one person is there, and that entire trio has controlled that bottom left-hand corner of the map that we used to see dominated by so many different trios. So you can change it up, but there's not really many options because of 50% chest spawn.
And here's the thing. I mean, Zayd said it best. Are you playing for first place if you're not landing on major POIs? Mongrel said it best. If you're not landing for Doom's Domain or for the Stark Industries, are you really playing to get the best loot? Naturally, a drop spot like this, it's the ecosystem of Fortnite, the Fortnite world. I'm sorry to say it. It's not diced out, to be fair. It is going to be staggered. And if you want the high risk, high reward drop spots, I mean, you got to swallow the pill, right? You have to take what's going to come for you. And it's going to be the forces that are coming from me, because only confident players are going to do it. And like you said, the caliber of Mega, Dubs, Bizzle, that's high tier. Of course, the battle's going to drag on.
Then respect the results, right? I mean, you're going to contest that spot. I agree you're trying to play for that first place. But if you know you're down bad on the record of the people you're fighting there, play for second maybe then, right? Maybe that means you can't play for first if you can't win the fight off of spawn. Because if you're going to be contesting either way in the finals, that might not be it. That might not be the case, and you're not going to be able to get second or third after the fact if you're going to just risk the entire tournament for both teams. But there's so many ways this discussion can go. There's so many different things that can happen for the nature of just spawn fights. For this game specifically, I feel like the mid game was the issue for a bunch of teams getting that Storm Surge as well.
And we're going to see how it all unfolded right now as the leaderboards are ready. Gentlemen, take it away after this. I mean, the next game's going to be going up, but here it is. The leaderboards breaking down.
AV, Knight, and Shark maintained that they took over first, right? They were tied for it with 36 points, but not far behind is Royal, TJ, and Rokane, who haven't had really great performances, right? At the beginning of that top, they haven't been slaying out and popping off like we see them, but consistent top placement and top eliminations will be good for them. Cypher, Nosh, and Clicks, no surprise there in third, but all the way up, Monster, from 25th place is Scented, Edgy, and Commandment with that Victory Royale last game.
I'm seeing
Still
it.
consistency. Yeah, it's reigning king. First place with the XSET trio. Gaps are being closed, but gaps change in distance. So we'll see what the difference will be in game 3. Good though. Food for thought to keep track of that leaderboard as well. That COD Genesis goes all the way down to 8th. On the second page, we've got Furious, Illis, Riverson at 10th. 9th is Animal Degen and Agers. All the way down to 16th, Zunis, Endpen, and Aspect.
Huggy, Creo, Kanata there as well. They just not having the games they want to have. This last game better for them because they were all able to really get alive and into this in-game scenario. We know, but not where they want to be. We know they want to be in that top 1, 2, or 3 spot. They are very, very hungry for it coming back in. We'll go to the next page to show you that next level of standings as we see Doji, Gandhi, and Spade up there. Vivid moving into 18th. But look at that. No points there from Calc, Backwood, and Zexro.
Hey, life's rough. Sometimes you have a game and it just completely gets skipped out on, and it's unfortunate for you, but at the same time, 6-game format, sometimes you will miss out on points. You will miss out on progression. So we'll see what these teams towards the bottom 30 can do, or the bottom side of the entire 30 teams that are playing. All the way on that 0 to 2 point range, we have some of the EU teams, Hen, Forceling, and Save It all the way at 31st. Rox, Vixen, and AJ at 25th, which is kind of surprising for me because it feels like they're playing good all the way towards, I'd say, 6th zone, maybe 5th zone, but after that, not really getting many points.
And it's not enough to play good. You have to play great. And as you see, Bizzle, Mega, and Dubs, 26th place. So they got to change something up. We know they're not going to stop dropping there because that is literally, we know that. We've seen it time and time and again, weeks after weeks. Bizzle, Mega, and Dubs will not leave the POI. But they can change how they play it. They can get their loot and back out. They do not have to fight for Dooms. If they have it, they can just take it and run. We'll see if that translates into this next game, though.
Don't even have to see it. We have that battle bus ready, prepped to go. So we're going to be diving right in shortly to see exactly what the Glide's looking like in game number 3. We'll see if Booga, Jamper, Avery can be the guys to come out on top, and if all the predictions today can be absolutely correct.
And look at that, 2 llamas right near Stark Industries as well. So that llama actually in Stark might influence how these players drop just a little bit, because that big influence of mats all the way off spawn really, really helps your team. But from what I was seeing, I think they're all dropping on that big Stark chest there in the balcony window. So we'll see if that continues to happen. If they continue to 50-50 the exact same chest, those chests very good. They guarantee you at least an epic or a legendary weapon, 2 of them, and then heals as well as mats. So we'll see Booga now on your screen. He's going to be the one we hop in, and we'll see who's going to be able to get it. He's going for that balcony chest. So is Jamper. So is Edgy. So is Scented. They've got the best drop, but I think actually Scented is going to be just a little bit lower. They're going for SMG on top. Booga going to go for that chest. The SMG going to be there. Booga going to get taken down. Tries to pickaxe, but he's going to fall very, very early. You see the pump there. Avery and Jamper now have to play as a duo.
A Royal Rumble in the ring just for one chest. It's going to be Booga taking off the top rope, and now it's just going to be no tag team really available, or just a tag team for Avery and Jamper. Man, what a chaotic POI just in total. Not only that, I'm surprised that there's just 2 people contesting each other right now, I would assume there'd be even more. Avery getting damaged by the AI at the POI more so than any of the players so far. Not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but regardless, let's tune back in to the same story at Doom's Domain.
But it's a little bit slower just based on how the loot is. You don't have those big chests. We're actually going to hop over here to Arab, Trip, and DB2 who are in Pearl Castle. As Jamper's going to go down to Edgy. That means only Avery is left alive. They came out swinging in game number 2. They picked up the victory, and now we'll see if they pick up the victory in this game over everyone. Is DB2 going to fall? Avery has decided to completely disengage. Shockwave out of there, 43 HP. I could not agree with what he's done more. He has to leave. There's no chance at getting a card.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap for both those trios. I feel like 2-1 going towards the side of Commandment as you incented. This is the fight that I was really interested in, though. It's the whole Bizzle versus Zayt scenario / matchup going down. Zayt holds a 3-2 lead over Bizzle at the moment. In terms of majors, this is the opportunity to tie for Bizzle, as you can see on the left side of your screen, but on your screen, you can see that these guys are still having trouble. Yes, Stretch got knocked, but all Mega really has right now to answer with is actually nothing. No HP, he's knocked too. Bizzle, the last person left, getting shot by, nope, not an AI, but a beast of a trio, coming down and just dropping punishment hard.
And that is actually so much better for Zayt than it could have been, because they did it within 30 seconds of fighting. They did not let this drag on. They did not let it take the entire first zone moving. They now have time to loot up, get the vault, get everything they need, and get out of there so they don't get rotated on again. This is very good for them. It looks like for now it's going to be 4-2 coming out of this game. We'll see if Bizzle can turn it around, but that's really good for Zayt. And this is what he usually is used to. If he gets contested, wraps it up very quickly, and then moves on. That last game, not the case, and that's why they struggled. This will be the first game that they get out of spawn very, very, very quickly. In turn, we've got a fight here in Sweaty Sands. Zypha, Flix, and Nosh continuously dominating this POI. But can they do it again? Zypha is very, very good with these gas cans, and he's being a very big proponent of them. They do so much damage, and they give you so much explosives there on the build.
Round number 2 here for these guys in the fight. We saw it happen last game. It'll be dragged on. That 3-2 record, I believe, was also just in total for the tournament. Who comes up higher? So by the end of the 6 games, we'll see how that record changes. Still, Klex going down and Nosh going down immediately. Is this because of a third party, or was there a gas can self-explosion that happened? Because that was really fast. Both the guard dogs off the leash and now really just off the world in the game. All up to Zypha, but this is just rough. I don't think it's going to be possible for him to really do anything at all. These gas canisters, you can't really drink them. He's just expending all the utility that he has, making sure that this trio gets absolutely none. Maybe he can buy some time too, but man, unfortunate.
It is, but he doesn't want to go out without fighting. He's got that gas can to try to... Oh, okay.
No way.
Not too sure. Actually, so Kearney gonna get that elimination. I think wanted to go out without giving them the elimination. Not too sure exactly what the play was, but you know, when your back's against the wall, you gotta try something, Shia.
Hey, sometimes it's a little bit of point embezzlement towards maybe another trio. Who knows? But still, I don't think Fortnite abides by the, or in-game at least, abides by the law set in America. So I think we might be chilling. It is a battle royale on an island with weapons. So Keox, Gonzo, and OSP, these guys are going to be fighting it out on the map. Very, very prominent in terms of Season 3. Keox at least landing towards Caddy Corner using that Shockwave launcher, getting huge placements. OSP as well has basically been in every single heats in a team mode, but never really passed that into grand finals. Today's practice, any practice really, is going to be very important for that trio. Gonzo also, phenomenal player. But past that, we'll see if they can evolve and get to the next step in their journeys. Eclipse Crimson Class, for the talk of last game in terms of aggressiveness, in terms of the shots they were hitting. This game, we can see they're landing at Misty Meadows. Pretty uncontested and looking good in their mid-game rotation.
Yeah, 11th place coming into this game, so starting to, I think they actually fell that game. We'll see how they do with this uncontested area of Misty. In turn, we're back over here to Kearney. Polarize and Strep. So the one elimination they have is actually on to Zypha. If you're confused, you didn't see what just happened there. So they must have gotten that third-party tag come in, and I think that's what influenced that fight over Sweaty Sands. Again, it's another issue of a fight taking way too long. You cannot take fights that last 1 minute, 2 minutes here. In trios, they have to be very, very quick and concise. They have to just go off without a hitch. And if you get anything thrown into that that's not in the plan, you are going to get third-partied. As we see Polarize now just trying to set up against these players coming in. He's actually really far from his teammate, and the pinch came through. The player from Salty going to get the damage, and now they got to rotate back. This may be troublesome for Polarize.
No, I'll keep it safe and maybe look for some tags back. If you guys have ever watched Polarize, Kearney, or Strep before, when these guys are playing together over here, I would equate these guys maybe to puzzle pieces that don't actually fit into each other, but they're working on editing their pieces so that they do. So what I mean by that is that these guys have been a part of so many different trios. They've actually worked well with a lot of those trios, but never actually stuck along for those rides season to season. Relatively new trio coming in for this season, working with each other. And they've played with so many different trios that overall, as players, they're very well rounded out in everything. You saw Kearney with a good eye for tags at the moment. He's had this eye since day one. You saw Polarized, very good at box fighting, clutching up towards the end of the game. He's been clutching up, playing with the likes of Arab, many other people as well in DreamHack 2. Strep recently filled in for Bugha, I believe, when he was, I think, on vacation or playing something else while Bugha was still playing with him in Jamper. Or while Chat was still playing with him in Jamper. So he fills in for high-profile trios. He knows how to play at the most elite level. Together, though, I want to see what these guys can build for a story for themselves, no longer a part of any other major trio.
And players that need to write their story in trios and need to really make a name for themselves. They may be in the elite level of these players, but they're not at the top of the top. Tindy, Dictate, and Wrigley here on your screen. They are near the bottom of the leaderboard right now, but again, we have room to move. Avery is actually going to fall there to Spade, as Spade then gets taken out there by Colazo and company. So Bugha's trio completely out of the game. They're not going to get any points, and that's because of that contention we saw off spawn. And that's kind of, I feel like, going to be the story of all of these games today and moving forward, is these off-spawn contentions for these major POIs.
Participation in the story too for a lot of teams, because some of them are not contested, and that's a good thing to not be a part of that story, because then you have a free reign all the way to mid game. You can be like Crims, you can be like the XSET trio. And wow, actually I didn't even know this either. Crims, as an hour ago, is a free agent. I mean, I know Play Enterprise is watching. I'm not sure who else is, but you never know.
Hey, gotta hit a hard vouch for him there too, Sal. You know, he's a very good player, able to show up here today. We'll see if this game is any kinder to him. They're gonna use the boat to rotate in, and it's gonna be a little bit unconventional, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to get into zone. They are pretty far from it there, but in a good spot. Their loadout, not the best here in Crims with that common AR, but in a good spot. It seems like they've done enough damage to be above Storm Searcher right now. We'll see it next zone. Now they're going to get tagged on up and decide, you know what, the boat was fun for a little bit, but now we got to get out.
I stretched that rotation as long as they could. And man, if we're on the topic of describing trios, we'll come back to that one after. This one, though, is just, it's filled with legends.
And they're legends on multiple different regions, right? They came over from West after dominating, absolutely owning West, and I think every team mode, and then decided, you know what, let's go try out East, and they still are on top, adding Commandment to their roster this time around instead of Rex, but doesn't seem any different. They're able to get off spawn this time around. They've got the Vault loot. Their ammo a little bit abysmal there, but they can share, and their loot just looks so good, and this is what happens when you win a major POI with a Vault off spawn, and you're able to get the rest of the loot uncontested. You're just going to be set up for the rest of the game.
They're spending a lot of time mining over in Stark Industries. You're right, possibly setting themselves up for the game, but they are losing time on positioning. Still want to get up all the way in max hard mats, because if you don't, you're in positions like this. Yes, I know Strep's putting everything down for the hard materials, trying to survive low ground. I'm not sure what commotion chaos happened while we were on a break, but Kearney, Strep, and Polarize are in a pretty bad spot now. 3 different trios around them.
And Shrimp's got, okay, I was gonna say, he's got chug slashes, and he really needs to use those right now. 118 effective HP, something bad had to have happened, because we're now back on board here with Aspect, Inpin, and Zunies. We've gotten a relatively free rotation into the top of this area, and this is one of those new mechanics we're gonna have to play around. We mentioned Polar Peak in that first game, but this is, I think, Polar Peak times 10, because it goes all around the entire map where Frenzy Farm used to be. These inclines are straight up. There's no way you can really build up unless you're going at a weird angle, but they've got to be careful. As we see, Blake is gonna knock Stretch, and this is a fight that's happened before. They were the ones that came in third party the second game on the Stretch and them, but now they've got to be careful. Zay and Sap, only ones remaining from that trio.
It's only a knock though, so potential for a revive is there. Happens all the time. People maybe get sniped out of the air, maybe get sniped on rotation, and then have to get that knock. If it's a box fight though, that'll be worrisome. Jack picking up Dictate in the feed. We watch N-Pen, Zunies, and Aspect move around. They're always gonna have their position on the map because they land authority. Whoever lands authority and controls it has that central BOI, has say on the word position really over everyone else in the entire server.
And it's interesting to see that knock came through as the zone is on Dooms, as we saw Crashpad trying to get through the Harpoon, trying to be used to break in. They are going to get caught out, and they're doing this, and they're doing it because they have 14 damage above Stormsurge threshold, and they know they need more. They cannot go into this mid game that close to the threshold because it's a teeter-totter. If you're only 14 above, someone's going to get a couple tags, and they're going to go down. That's going to be Edgy going down. This is a huge fight. Aspect taking him down. This does not look like Edgy, Scented, and Mammoth fighting. There it is. Zuni's gonna go down there to Scented, getting the turn elimination, and they will finish it off. Edgy getting finished as well. So a 1-for-1 trade. Aspect now very far above Stormsurge, and I think this fight's gonna dwindle off here. I think Infinite and Aspect are comfortable getting that trade and just sitting on top and trying to make their way back together.
I'm not sure if they got a complete finish though all the way on the first knock they had, and with Zuni's down, they might be looking for it. Zone's coming through in 1 minute. They're actually big chilling. Back over with Tari, but man, winning off spawn, then just being completely taken out. With momentum too, you were in 25th place, now you're in the top 5. You want to push for first, it'll be so difficult with a man down. No way anyone's letting him get a revive or a reboot off in Doom's domain for free.
And I think they're honestly crazy enough to try it. Those we see Joji going down. Stormsurge will turn off here for the time being. Try it, however, on your screen, retaking this entire building. This is pretty much standard, but they got a car rotating in nearby. They got to be careful about that. They actually have extra chug slashes there as well. So in a very good spot. Gabe nearby, however, spraying with Tahi. They just want to get their little area, and they don't want anybody to be near it. They may also be worrying about Stormsurge. Hen gonna go down there in now 79. He still got a chance to be picked back up, but Qua being aggressive. That was one of the teams I was not sure if they were gonna be aggressive enough, but showing up saying, hey, we could mid-game, early game fight just well.
It's not about only fighting now, it's more so about where you're choosing to make these bases. How central can you really get? How far up can you get elevized or elevated for shots? And as I mentioned, that we're on Creo, Bucky, and Kanata's screen. They're landing many different beams across the map.
And finally in a good position here. We've seen them in a weird mid-game position, low ground and mid-ground, not doing well, Matt's not looking well. But they finally kind of established themselves. They said, hey, you know what? We're going to set up early. We're going to be on a high ground position. We're going to get our tags that we need to, and we're not going to worry about Stormsurge. As opposed to Macwood, Dex, and Calc, who are having to rotate through players like Furious, Illis, and Riverson. Is Macwood going to get tagged up there? That clone not going where he wanted it to.
No way.
And now, this is not a good rotation for him, Shio.
Yeah, what happened? I think these guys were looking good at both just rotating in and maybe fighting in a little bit, but Illis pulls the trigger a little bit fast. Now Macwood has wrapped past all of them. I'm not sure what positional decisions Riverson is making at the moment, but Mac has definitely somehow made a better one from the backside from pressure. Now, yes, they do control more of the left side of the map. River, Furious, and Illis that is, but Mac is at least safe for now and gets an eye line on, I think, everyone else. They actually get zone as well, so these guys will be buddy-buddy side to side for a lot of the time, and I'm looking at high aggro from both teams, it could get messy really quick here, Clay.
And look at who Macwood is looking at. Stretch, State, and Sass. They were able to get that pickup. It was just a knock there. They decided they're going to go ahead and rotate early into the zone. They don't want to have that same thing just happen to them. And it's going to get messy. At some point, if half and half out pulls here, you're going to turn to box fight. The Storm Surge are going to turn on. And it doesn't seem like Macwood, Calc, and Zextro have a lot of Storm Surge tags there.
I mean, the name of the game is accuracy. When it comes to these guys' position, you got to remember this is also classified as, or these guys are classified as one of the best trios in the game. BBSM is what I kind of coined. The looks and the action these guys put down on the field. Bucky Kuro Kanata have literally been dominating things, contested or uncontested, straight from Slurpy Swamp.
In turn, we see the evolution team here, right? LazarP, Vivid, and Sizlucky. No eliminations. One crash pad in the inventory here of LazarP. On this, what I would call almost dead side of zone, that northwest really being it. See Feared going down. Lazar really just looking for those snipes to try to get them. As you see 121 below, they're going to need to hit something. And they're going to need to do it quickly as we move over to Chap, Scoop, and Skittles as they're shockwaving into zone. No one really looking at him right now as that shockwave goes off, but now getting shot up. Chap doesn't really have shields in his inventory to heal up, so he's got to hope his team does. But I think this is a common thing that I've seen from them, especially in their scrims. They play this low ground, very low on mats, very low on HP, but then they're able to find someone out with Coop's fragging ability. They can turn this around. They do have one mini shield there for Chap, but effectively 120 HP is not going to be enough.
We've seen it happen before, Clay. I feel like you should bet on teams that look shambles in these moments because they're the guys who get the eliminations and end up surviving, thriving all the way towards the end of the game. Exa is looking like that right now. Knight actually, or no, Shark getting taken down, but scooped up by AV. Very nice. Think of this revive off. That's huge. They have an entire body's worth of loot to play with. And time too, they could.
And they could, but and also performance Stretch and Sass just went down, so I think it's just 8 remaining. As Storm Surge is coming through, they won't be able to get off because he's going to tick out. So they're trying to heal up. He should have chug splashed him. He went away from the body, the down body, and he chug splashed without him.
I was talking about synergy before, but there's a lack of it completely right now. Maybe just a slight error. The reboot card is there though, which usually doesn't happen after Surge. Either way, that's just a fun fact. Keox getting taken out, slapped really by Aspect. Him and Enpen, I think, were also kind of, yeah, definitely with just 168 above, victims to that Storm Surge. So these guys are still not in zone. They're close. Everyone is just kind of squished over on this bottom right side. No one's really safe in zone just yet. These northern teams have a nice walk in. That'll be Mac. That'll be Illust. Completely safe, but everyone else, including Coop, Chap, and Skittles, will have trouble moving into the zone.
They will, and they're going to have to get creative. Coop has a lot of mats, so it's good. Macwood is actually going to go down. Talk about safe rotation. It's no longer safe there. Zay goes down as well. So Zay, Sap, and Stretch out of the game. Macwood now having Zextro and Cal playing together. You know, there's only one option there for them. They're going to have to frag out like Jace. That elimination is good. They're above Storm's threshold child, but look, everyone is spraying them. He's having to spin around like a washing machine right now.
Are we watching 2 separate games? Because, like, it's just action on action in different settings completely. It seems like when I'm tuned into these low ground box fights, it's a completely different zone, completely different atmosphere, and at the same time, on the outskirts, people are getting into random shambles 50-50s like Jate is. Knight also. I mean, this could be a completely different era, in trouble. Usually with zones like this, towards Dooms, this XZ trio is completely vibing. This time, though, in trouble. 20 HP for Knight. Now, if this dude clutches this, is he basically holding the title onto the best clutcher of all time at the moment?
I think he is. I thought you were going to say you're going to eat a spoonful of mayo or something like that if he does. But he's got a lot of builds remaining in his inventory, so he can make it. As Kamehameha is going to pick up an elimination. He's got to be careful, though. Crap.
Nope.
Well, GG,
Nope.
well played.
Hey, sometimes we believe a little bit too hard. 20 HP not going to be enough to get you really anywhere at all. No placement though, and not that many eliminations. Remember, that is your first place team going down. So now anyone else can go and push for that #1 slot. I think 36 is the points to beat at the moment. Blake, Cease, and Keys will try to do that all the way on height, but get afflicted and affected all the way from a different side of zone. 107 points below in terms of where damage below in Surge, but now they're all the way up. How far will this height last, though? It is so hard to control for the whole game. Cease is already in trouble, taken down. Yes, there's support from above, but he's on a separate island, and this island has been evicted, completely washed over, flooded, and closed.
And this is what we've seen. You hold it from that 5th into 6th zone, you are gonna get contested. It's just the nature of Shocklays and Crash Pads being in the game. This is how it was back in the first MTS trios as well. Because all these players are going down. You mentioned first place is out. Antid is still in there with Commandment. Jade and Crunchy still trying to make something happen here. Mikey gonna go down and complete down, so I think he's out. Zextro getting elimination there as well. Flash getting taken down by Congenesis. This Lucky getting taken down by Sinted. So many people going down, but look, this is where we expected Trap and company to be. Low ground, low match, low shield, low everything, but yet they're still here.
Chaos, congestion, and even more chaos on every side of the zone. Coop doesn't even care about pickaxe swinging on these walls he's shooting through, trying to get a faster claim on every single close range box. Chat actually gets affected from behind. It's trouble though. Edgy's now taken out by Blake, full elimination. Gonna be the whole trio taken out. Vivid is kind of popping off. Owl and Crimsro also answering back with Lazar getting picked off. He's and Blake are trying to dual height and just fake the fact that they have strength all the way for this game. That test though, or that strength gets tested. He's gonna get pumped down. Blake, actually the only surviving member is Keys, gets taken out. He has to go all the way down, 95 HP. It's just absolutely over, and it's Creo, Bucky, and Kanata who are your new kings for this lobby.
And they set themselves up so well by claiming that early high ground there in the mid-game. As we see Zextro getting taken down there by Commandment, a TSM on TSM action. As Slacks is gonna fall there as well to Not Panda. Daxter and Stowe with that toss spawn win. They're gonna be in a really good spot to move with the leaderboards. Tinted going down, Vivid going down. Dave, Taheen, Sprite all together here in this in-game. A lot of trios without a team, but this team looking good. They don't have a lot of match though. On wood, 20 builds remaining. They got to get in. One player hands in front of him. Shot's going to come through. Edit goes through and Gabe takes a lot of damage with an awkward Edit. That should not have happened. He put himself at that left-handed peak versus right-handed. Commandment is going to take down Snow. Commandment is solo popping off right now.
Blake is somehow still alive too. He got Jack taken down. Daxor ends up taking out Commandment to the zone. Now Gabe, the awkward man, is put into another awkward spot. Drops straight down. Chap is gone. All up to Coop to solo from low ground where he's done it before. Again and again. 90 HP, but can he land a shot that's double that damage? That is the question. Wall to wall. There's the first 100. He gets taken out. 5 people left. 3 teams as the game starts to get wrapped up.
Right, with that play to try to get out, not going to be able to do so. So Kanata and Creo on the high ground. Gabe going down there to Bucky. Bucky did fall those 6 eliminations for him before he fell out. The Sprite and Tahi have the chug splashes. They can save this last one to try to go for a little bit of a heal up. It's not going to happen. Sprite going for the play. Shots coming through, 100 damage. He is going to get the tag. No, not going to be able to get it. Kanata going to get him. And now Tahi just tries to out heal him. He's got to try to make a play. He doesn't have any match remaining. This is going to be very, very hard. They got the shots coming through. The Cypher coming through. 4 HP to Dream, but Kanata and Creo going to take the victory.
Height retakes on top. Cease taken over by BBG and TSM alike. And for game 3, it'll be these guys pushing up on that leaderboard. I mean, for me, Clay, that entire game, I was bobbing my head the whole time. It was like a death metal song, bro. It was just complete, utter noise on every single side, channel, and place on the map.
It didn't seem like the action wanted to stop. They wanted to go full force the entire time. Zones didn't matter. If zone was coming in, they were fighting. Zone was closing. They were fighting. Zone was moving. They were fighting. Everyone was fighting at all points of the game.
Bars, man, absolute bars. And I just want to know what all that fighting kind of led to. I mean, I think we can just slide in Monster over here, get his thoughts about how this game went down. So let's toss it over to the threes, see how things look. Unless he's doing his makeup, getting ready. I know his team's still taking L's. I know, you know, maybe gotta hide those tears. You know, what's going on, bro? What's going on?
Man, hey, what's going on is I can't believe that. What was it? Was it Cease and Blake that were up towards the top there? Yeah, Cease, Blake, Keys. They had high ground coming into like zone 6, leading to 7. They lose the lead, and the reason I'm bringing this up is that how do you have such a dominant position, but then just get stretched so thin across high ground and get body from different layers? Because Cease was on the back of the storm line, so I'm like kind of lost here as to how they were finally putting themselves up to jump up that leaderboard and then lose it to Kanata, Bucky, and Creo, who it was just crazy there, Shayo, for a second.
You might have the answer to that. Maybe Ceus was on Twitter responding to a tweet.
You're right, because there's some action going on, man. You know, we like to bring the drama here for the practice server events. Yo, Arab tweeting out like, hey, listen, Cease, my man, you got to slow down. What's up with the contesting? And then he calls him out on his qualifications all the way through. And I mean, Cease fires back because Cease is the one who was in the end game there, in my opinion.
Yeah, and in all honesty, to answer your question, right? In trios, if there's shockwaves involved, there's something that can break your build. Holding from 5th into 6th zone is just not ideal. We saw with COD Genesis in the first game going down. We saw it here with Cease and company in this game going down. It's not ideal. You really want to play, and we've seen Saf and whoever they're playing with at the time do this very, very well for that 7th, 8th zone high ground retake. If you're able to get that, you should be able to secure yourself the victory.
Yeah, but like it was the matter of they did it the way they did it as well. It was good old-fashioned gunplay. It wasn't like some shockwave disruptions or anything like that. It was gunplay, and that's why I'm really pointing towards it, because I'm talking about at the core mechanic of Fortnite, all weird loot aside, when it's just team on team and you have high ground as a full trio with the power position, with the lead and on the zone, no team should be losing that. And then that just gives more strength to the story. Creo, Bucky, Kanata, as solo players, maybe not standouts, not lately, but as a trio, we all know they are so deadly. I mean, this is the warm-up for the warm-up for the warm-up, right? Because we're just leading up. These competitions are going to continue to ramp up, and GG Enterprise bringing obviously something great for us, but seeing them get their groove on, right, that's kind of nice, Shayo.
Yeah, they've been warmed up too. I think that I don't want to call them overlooked, but they've been like the hot top trio pick for so many people since day one of the season starting, even last season as well. They were just dominant in scrims, dominant in cash cups. And that being said too, when it comes to here, you just can't really overlook them. I don't even think they're overrated. They're just playing how they play. You mentioned it, natural gunplay and good performance.
Yeah, but anyways, I want to lead this into our next segment because, as we said, guys, at the end of every game, we want to continue to do giveaways. We want to keep bringing that fire action to not only within the game, of course, y'all at home. So Enterprise has been putting on some fantastic prizing for all of y'all. The Nano Leaf, the Razer Viper mouse, and now we have our next giveaway about to be fired up and put into the chat. It's going to be a Gleam. All you got to do is click it. You put your information in. Do whatever it is you got to do. It's trustworthy. You can sign in. Take a look here, man. Do you need yourself a new headset? Castile Series, Artix Pro are on the line here. I mean, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the, the way the headset mics are in right now. This mic right here will get you right in gamer form, okay? It's got the headset mic. It's retractable off the side. It's a great headset. I've actually used this one before from the Steel Series team. Pretty comfortable as well. Not too bad here. So enter yourself in. There's the Gleam in the chat from GG Enterprise. Just hooking it up, man. Hooking up for the community. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do, click that link, right? You press it, you go into the Gleam. It's a Twitter. You link your Twitch. You link your all that kind of stuff. You follow the socials, right, that are the GG Enterprise, and you, my friend, will be one step closer to winning some goodies. We have more casters, or not more casters, excuse me. We have the casters, of course. We're like, hey, surprise now, I got more casters. Like, the halfway mark's over, guys. That was game number 3. For the back half, what I meant was, from the casters' perspectives, how you guys feeling for not only your calls, but the way things are shaping up as the leaderboards are kind of getting set here, because the points are pretty dispersed. At the start, it went a certain direction. It's continued to, like, the road is swerving right now. I don't think there's a clear winner. Not yet, but I feel like, Shai, you set it up. So you said 4 games in, your team was going to be breaking away. This is a lot closer than just that.
Listen, I don't know what happened last game. You asked me how I felt. I feel kind of weird, scared, but XSET makes me comfortable. The one trio I can rely on. Yes, wasn't there that game, but they were first leading into it. So they have to be top 3 coming into whatever leaderboard check we're going to be doing. And I feel like off of that top 3 in game 4, if they get a good performance, they're going to be miles ahead of everyone else.
And I have a question as well for the community. Who do you want to see most on those drop spot fights? Are we trying to see the Zate v Bizzles? What do you guys want to see? I know y'all were calling for the XSET shot, so we brought in the wide shot. We brought in the XSET. I know they were going down to Storm Surge at that point, but that's kind of why we haven't been focusing on. They have a very passive play style, so maybe we'll highlight them a little earlier, right? We want to give the best players obviously that screen time when they deserve it most. So we're trying, we're listening. Clay, for you, Who is it that you want to see to maybe thrive or continue to do great things? Because there's a lot of teams right now, like I said, in the mix, doing a pretty good job so far.
All right, I'm gonna give you 2 picks. So one, the one I've been rolling with the whole time, Scented Edgy Commandment. Everyone in chat says they want to see him all spawn. Gotta stick with them. They did very well that last game with Commandment solo popping off. See if they do it again if they're near the top. But I'm gonna go with Niddle, Mikey, and their trio. All right, I want to see them kind of step up. You know, we saw Niddle pop off in that game, number 2. Didn't really see them in game number 3, but I want to see what they can do.
Okay, so I'm gonna give a shout to the Ops team. Fung, if you're listening, look at the chat because they're calling for it. They want that Zate Bizzle action off the drop. They want that Scented action. They want that Commandment. What's going down over with Booga over at Stark Industries? You know, there's only a couple cameras. We can only BO so many places, so we are gonna try to do our best to get all the early game fights. And of course, Clix's team dropping players at Sweaty Sands, but I'm gonna fade on out of here. I'm gonna let you boys take it to the leaderboards, get everyone caught up, and set the stakes for the next games.
Awesome. Let's check it out. Let's see exactly what the leaderboards look like. No cameras really needed for the leaderboards in themselves. It's just numbers we can break down. We can see exactly who to look out for in the next game. And here they are at first place, Bucky, Kuro Kanata. Second place, Scented, Edgy, and Commandment at 47. And past that, the classics we've been seeing from game 1 and 2, Slacks Jack, Acorn, Volt, TJ Rokane, and AV Knight and Shark.
So tied for first, but I think because of that Victory Royale, they are gonna, I mean, actually, technically, they're tied in Victory Royales too. Game number 2 went over to second place. Game number 1 went over to first place. So this is coming down to average of eliminations as well as a couple of other tiebreakers. So it is very, very close. Shio, 5th place gonna be AV Knight and Rogue Shark. Not behind by much, only 11 points separate them for first place. But what is scary for them is that Bucky, Krio, and Kanata are turning online. Scented, Edgy, and Commandment are winning these off-spawn fights.
I think that 100% those two trios have to be the scariest, and to put a little bit more information down on that one, Scented, Edgy, Commandment are going to be scary coming in from Starks. Huge loot to come in with an advantage from. Bucky, Kuro, Kanata are also probably going to be uncontested. On the second page, though, let's look at some other scary things that might be possibly rising up the ranks. Zypha, Nosh, and Clix. If these guys work out whatever issues they have over at Sweaty Sands, these early game fights, they could be in the same position as Bucky, Kuro, Kanata, as Commandment, Scented, and Edgy, and just rising up fast and possibly even taking a top 5 slot.
Speaking of rising up fast, there's luckily Lazar and Vivid. They're making their way up the leaderboard. It may not be the best performances time after time, but consistency will reward you with these top placements. They just got to get in the top 10 to make money here today, and they're very, very close. Only 8 points separate them and the top 16. So we will see that rest of the leaderboard later, but we are in the battle bus as game number 4 is going to happen, Shio. This is the back half of games. We usually see things kind of change up and shake up here a little bit.
Listen, that last game was the biggest change and shake-up because that was honestly too hot to handle, I think, for the players and for ourselves. Just fights after fights, shots being taken instead of pickaxes being used to mine walls. Like, Coop was off the rails. The top teams were not on the top anymore, and now we have a new team to focus on, really, which will be Bucky, Kuro, Kanata later on. What we really want to see, though, is how Stark Industries breaks down on this big chest on the balcony. A balcony one team will have to jump off of and not survive. Let's see what happens this round. Tuning in with Booga. He's going off the side. He actually misses. Does get a charge, though. If he builds a ramp up, he could have the shot advantage. He gets kind of third-party shot over, facing down the barrel. 3 different players, and the whole trio gets knocked out.
The whole trio, they all just got wiped. And I'm speechless, just like they are. They all are continuously dropping here. They could change. There's another one of these chests in the main building. But time after time after time, it's an F for Booga again.
I would say L. I wouldn't even say F. That's paying respects. I don't think Commandment, Scented, and Edgy are talking respect at all. They're just trying to hand in as much unconfidence, as much disrespect as they can.
Wait, there's another team here. Hin, Save It, and Flossing are here. They've decided to change up and contest. This is not good for them. They're not that healthy on the terms of Scented, Commandment, and Edgy. Edgy pretty good. Scented will get the heal off. He doesn't have a shotgun though, but that Stark Industries rifle, very, very good at up close and personal fights. They do have to be careful though. They're not used to playing against 2 teams contesting him, and this is a wrench in that plan. We do see Forceling there trying to make their way in. Commandment and Edgy trying to find a shot onto them as well as Staff and Zate and Stretch all very low, but they have secured Doom's loot.
Doomsloop fast true. They didn't have it the last game we watched. It was Calc who actually got away with it, but then ended up surviving. Good call too on the switch ups because no one actually ends up contesting Starks past that point, and now Scented Edgy Commitment will have an entire new beast to really just fight. Curious though, we don't get to tune in with this POV for too long. I want to see if we can stay on it for longer to see exactly how this fight ends up breaking down. There's a player over here just taking shots over through builds towards Saf, who gets beamed all the way down. Now, no more shields available. I'm not sure where that card is, but these guys need to open up that vault fast and just get shielded up. Afterwards, get out fast too.
And this is, we talked about this fight. You don't want to be in here to fight. They have no match. The team up above is going to outmatch them. The piece control is coming through as well. Saf on one build remaining. There it is. He's got to try to do something. Zayt throwing Doom's weapon out people, but he's trying to just keep these players off. But Saf is going to go down. Now it's on to Zayt and Stretch. Stretch has got that charged up. The shot not going to go through. Going to place the ramp. Stretch has match. He's the only one here that has a decent amount. They trying to play aggressive, trying to play forward. Shockwave going through. He's trying to make something happen. And honestly, it seems like he said, you know what? Bye, Stretch. I am out. I am leaving you to try to get anything you can out of the vault and just dip.
He's not even going into the vault. Jumping straight out. This might be the first game that Zayt, Staff, and Stretch end up losing off spawn to Bizzle. And you got to remember, last time they ended that fight in 30 seconds. The game before, when they don't end this fight fast, regardless of who wins, everyone loses. Everyone ends up in the same sinking ship because another team ends up rotating in and then just takes out low health opponents and claims the vault.
And Stretch still here. I thought he was going to completely disengage, work their way back to Salty, but they're still here. Pressure coming through. Zayt is here as well. Shots going through. Zayt down pretty low. Stretch losing a lot of HP. He's trying to get into this porta potty, but he not. Oh, he is 1 HP. He's got to be able to make something happen. No, he's actually going to come back out the same size. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it's very unfortunate, like it is here today. Now Zayt, where is he? He's running away. He's got the gauntlets in hand, but I don't think it's going to be enough, Shio.
Only thing I can really say, actually, wait a minute. Hold that thought. Traffic police on duty. They're not going to let Zayt get away for free. A taxi coming in, but Zayt actually steals it. Crazy taxi. It's not going to be on the App Store. It's going to be in-game. 100 damage, 0 for health actually on the taxi. Zayt is 2 HP. The cars are still chasing him. This is about sending a message. It's not about winning off spawn. It's a clapback. And there's the trophy. The winners right now are going to be Mega, Dubs, and Bizzle. For the first time, I would say, possibly in recent history, and as well as this tournament overall.
You know, they decided that it wasn't enough, right? You said sending a message, and I'm guaranteeing you within 30 seconds, we're going to see a tweet on Twitter from Zayt about that entire engagement. But that was very well played from Bizzle, Mega, and Dubs. They pushed him into the vault. They didn't really have an option, low on match. They tried to make something play, but they stuck around too long. You saw they got a little bit greedy. They went to Modern House. They could have backed out towards something. They could have disengaged just a little bit, but no, they stayed around just a little too long.
Clay, it's not about playing the POI or even the game at this point. It's literally just beef. It doesn't matter if they could if they could teleport to a victory royale, they would not take it. They just want to win the POI. They want to just send that message over and over. It's the only thing that's been on the feed. It's the only thing that's been the talk of the town for Doom's Domain, I think, across every region. So it's going to keep happening.
I agree with you there. It's going to keep happening. But at what point do you just stop? Like, do you take...
They're past.
They're
past the point of no return, man.
I mean,
it's done.
But in FNCS, do you take the L? Do you take the L and give the POI
Clay,
up?
what was that stat, right? What was that stat we saw? I know there's a CTA right now about Creo and Bucky. I'm going to choose to wholeheartedly ignore it, okay? The first CTA we saw is that in this lobby, we have people that can afford, what, 13 Bugattis?
Yeah, I can't remember
or something
the
like that. Each one being like $3 million. For FNCS, right? 7 Bugattis, my bad, corrected by production. These guys, I don't think care about the money that there is to win over in the FNCS or any tournament. Every opportunity Zayt will get to L dance on Bizzle, every opportunity Dubs will get to hold a trophy over Zayt, they will take it, no matter the stage, for Doom's Domain.
Nothing else to say about that. I mean, you know, at some point you would think you have to give it up, but these two trios saying no. This kind of reminds me. Let's go back. Nitro, CR, and Kensel were dropping at Shark all the time back in the day when it was a very, very hot contested POI, right? Every time they would contest Kenstar and 4ZR, they would hold each other in zone. It would be third zone, and they would still be fighting, and they would still be doing it every day, day in, day out, day in, day out. And they still would make finals and do it. I would agree. At this point, they don't care. They just want to be the one at the end of the day to not take that out.
Yeah, it's past money. It's past even wins. These guys have both done that. They're both very reputable. It's just now about who's better. And I feel like it'll come down straight to grand finals if either team makes it. You were mentioning past the grief. I know Mitro did. I know 4ZR did as well. But in trios, man, it's so much harder because just understand that one team that came over, it is this game. Yeah, exactly. That came over and affected Scented, SG, and Commandment in getting the vault and having a good time. Those guys all have to rotate off, not be that fall off on a major POI. As soon as another team's added to the mix, that conversation, that entire challenge becomes so much harder. Right now, Mac, Calc, and Zex, I think I'm going to give these guys the label of big POI invaders. Like, we'll work on the label, but Doom's Domain 2 games ago, now Stark Industries, they're just nomading. They're just walking across whatever big POI they want.
And in turn, a fight happening between AV, Knight, and company, Trap Cesar, and Lucky P. Lucky Laser P. My fault. Lucky P, though, not being very, very lucky, right? I mean, these fights happening in the mid game for him, not going in the way of the XZ trio that we saw that very first game. They were very dominant in these mid to early game fights, but for right now, they are not. As we swap over, you'll see AV now trying to 1v, I believe, 2 clutch this up in zone as well. He's got chug splashes. The finish did come through there from Vivid as he's trying to make something happen. It's actually a 1v1. Shark is on the ground there. AV might be able to get all the loot, and he does get the reboot card as well. Vivid versus AV, you say, the old versus the new, but Vivid trying to go for the rest here, and this is lucky, and I think he was actually not able to get it. It almost looked like he stuck it there, as you see AV looking for it. He wants that, the piece control from Vivid coming out. AV walking around, not a lot to work with here, right? He's got the chug splashes, he's got a good amount of builds, but Vivid owning this fight. The piece control came through for AV, though. The shot coming through, AV, you get the damage off on the Vivid. Is Lucky gonna go down there. AV in a bad spot though. Cone over the top. He owns the wall. Shots coming through. AV gonna take a lot of damage, but he's gonna do a lot more damage. He's got the chug splashes. Vivid has to make a play. He has to get a big pump shot here onto AV. If not, AV is gonna walk away the victor, and he more than likely will be able to get the reboot. As you see him disengage, he knows he's got this in hand. He knows he did enough damage. Vivid has to make a play right here. Shots come through. It's not enough. Vivid needs to make another shot. It's not enough again.
No way.
Vivid just gonna die on the outside of the wall trying to get in. AV just gonna back away, and there's the elimination.
I mean, AV gave him a chance. I got a little bit worried there, but how lackadaisical he was being, how nonsensical. He was just not really resetting any edits, moving randomly, not checking his corners, but it's fine. Does he get the reboot off, though? I don't think he got the card for Shark completely. I think he has Knight's card. But this is uncharacteristic. We don't see these guys fighting too often in the mid or early game.
No, we don't, but they're able to make it out, and you see he's going to get the reboot off because he's going all the way into zone at Holly. And I don't agree with this at all. Look, zone is moving in 2 seconds, so they need to get a truck, they need to get a car or something and rotate in. AV does have the slurp mushrooms, but I don't think this is the play.
Yeah, why not just do this at Salty? 100%, I agree with you. Maybe there's people there that AV saw. Maybe there's more Medkins you can get here fast for both trios to just car-tate in and survive. That could actually be a smarter play, but it's risky to make that one. Still, you have to realize a lot of teams like rebooting into Salty. A lot of teams like doubling back there, just like AV is right now. So maybe bigger brain than anyone else in chat right now. Still, look at the leaderboard. The top teams to focus on that are not affected so far. Slacks, Jack, Acorn, Bucky, Kiro, Kanata, Boyle, TJ, and Rokane. Untouched, Big Chilling, AV's got Shark up. No Knight, though.
No Knight indeed. They did pick up the Bandage Bazooka, which is going to be really good for them, but it takes 3 seconds or so to recharge every time. And they've got a car, and in all honesty, they really need to get a truck. It works better on these off-roads that they're going to have to take. It's all minor detail. When you're in zone this far back with 54 seconds left, that means it's super far away. and they have to be careful about what they're taking. Maybe he knows that there's a rift nearby because they do spawn here, but I'm sure they're already taken as he's looking for where they're spawning. He's not going to find any, so this is going to be rough. They're also going to hop into the Lambo. No, there is a rift. There is a rift. It is right there, so they can make it. It's a little bit better now that we know there's a rift there, so I think that's why he decided to go into Holly.
That makes a lot more sense now, and even finding that bandage cannon, I feel like even if there wasn't a rift, these guys could have possibly come in through the skin of their teeth. Another rift available on one of the edges of Stark's Island. It'll be Colazo, Owl, and D-Roller trying to control it, but Fishy and Jade understanding that it's there too. Both teams gonna use it. Man, I just want to see someone take a rift for no reason, just to grief the teams and move over to a different spot. You affect placement so heavily right there. But still, it's nonsense to try to do that. Either way, enough of my dreams right now. Juggernauts in the game, in the past 2 games actually, as he's dealt the most damage and also survived the most damage. So I'm not sure if this guy knows something I don't about the game. Maybe you can start off with a perk or something that lets you withstand a percentage of damage or deal more. But absolute phenom in a lobby of the most elite that is dealing the most and taking the most.
It seems like he popped that Juggernaut from Call of Duty Zombies, and he's just running around the map dominating here. Because he survived the most damage and then in turn dealt it. That is insane from Edgy, but I wouldn't expect anything less. Back in the day when the minigun was introduced, he was the one that had the minigun. So he would always have it on the high ground there. Now, usually it has the bandage bazooka. It wasn't in there for a while, but I'm sure we'd see it on his POV there if we had swapped over. But now we're swapping over here to Rocks, as we did see, I believe, Cease was down in the feed. Trio going down, and this is actually really big for Scented and Churn Trio.
I was saying that, hey, look at the leaderboard, look at all the trios that are not affected. Now number 1 is with one of the most clutch players, I would even say the glue to the trio in an endgame, Creo, being taken out of that BBG TSM squadron. Still, the fact that Cease and Bizzle are fighting too, at this moment, these are 2 trios that contest height while all 3 members are alive. 2 trios that are really good at controlling space towards an endgame. Time and time again, especially in the lobby of these players, they're used to fighting against the people in this game right now. Everyone actually is towards the center side, at least who's in zone at least at the moment, which is interesting. COD, Genesis, Qua, and Feared, I mentioned it, always looking so good in game number 1, looking that they're in control. Right now though, privy to Surge, Qua will go down right here. Ooh, never mind, saved by the bell. But by how far? They have no shields, no white health really available. I think one person's taking a med kit, but they're so down bad on damage.
And you mentioned it. This has kind of been their pattern, tournament after tournament after tournament, is they do very, very well. Especially COD Genesis, very well that first game, and then the hype or something gets to him and he's not able to perform. Maybe able to come back in these last couple games on the see, but he's dropped a lot of points on that leaderboard. And Churn, this reason you see all of these people stacked up right here is because of where the zone is. It's half in, half out, basically on Stark's POI and the ground below it. So they have to guess, and they've decided, you know what, I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to sit right in the middle, and if it goes up, we've got a chance to go up.
Split it. Just leave one person up top. No one's going to be psycho enough to push towards a random box on the edge of a big cliff dive, right? You say that, but I'm sure there's someone out there that would definitely do it. As you see the wide shot, we've got Acorn, Jack, Black, Fade, Gandhi, and Joji, Edgy and company there as well. Everyone is playing this, and look, Shiloh, look at Force Zone. You still have it split on half and half of Stark's little island area. Listen, it's actually going to be very, very complicated to explain half in, half out this game, because we have a half and half out of low ground, a half and half split of the map, and then a half and half of the zone coming in. So follow along with me here. If you don't worry. Especially if English is not your first language. This is about to sound really, really confusing in just about 36 seconds.
And look, AV went down there to phase Dubs, and Shark went down as well. So the reboot didn't get them anything.
It got them just a little bit further, maybe affecting other people's games. It got them to give their bodies their eliminated points, maybe to a trio that doesn't matter. But you're right. For this game, they're taken out. From 5th place, they fall even lower. And now I'm just worried about what happens in games 5 and 6 for them. Still, those are the games where they perform the best. They clutch up the most. And these guys are clutch players. The best performance we saw today was Knight. Literally 1v9ing all the way towards the end game by himself. The biggest trio right now with the advantage is the one on screen. Jax, Slacks, Acorn. If we're talking about a duo picking up a third that's confident in his gameplay, this is a very similar playstyle for this trio. Jack and Acorn just running the scene in placements for duos all the way towards that duo FNCS every qualifier week somehow on top, every cash cup somehow on top. Now in trios, they have a high profile pickup with Slacks. They have high profile gameplay in an end game, always in the top 3. And in this game, the top teams are down, so a chance to take over.
We just saw Nexo get eliminated as well. So you're talking top teams. They are going down. We'll see exactly what Cypher and company are able to do. They were in the top left-hand corner of your screen. Edgy and company are up on top. We do see Bucky and Creo there for a moment. They are alive, but how many of them are there? What is their loadout like? As we see Macwood falling there. So all 3 alive for Creo Commandment, or Creo, Bucky, and name I can't remember.
Kanata. We're chilling. It actually gets difficult, man, especially because these guys don't have team names to keep track of everything, especially coming off of solos. Still, let's refresh everyone and ourselves. First place, Bucky, Creo, Kanata. Not unscathed, but as Clay just mentioned, alive this game. Scented Edgy Commandment, in trouble in general. Slacks, Jack, Acorn in one of the best positions on the map right now, and the zone has pulled onto Stark Island.
And this is where, if you guessed right, the half in, half out that was on top of the half in, half out, you are going to be in a really good spot. Keox and company not in that good spot, as they do have one player down. Gonzo and Keox are going to be able to pick up OSP there. And we'll see if the revive does come off. It does. They don't have anybody pressuring him. Nosh is going to get elimination there onto Jace. As we see the leaderboard there on your POV. This is exactly what everyone is fighting for and what everyone is looking for. That first place is currently tied with both players, both those trios still alive.
I checked on broadcast. The feed is looking fine. Your points are absolutely valid. It is about the boys that are alive with the high points. For me right now, though, the blurriness is real. So bear with me if I miss a few names. I'm going to be trying to cast off the skins. Not sure about you, Play. All right,
Same here.
let's hit up straight into the same. Okay, nice. We're playing classic 2007 YouTube 160p end games, but the quality of shots, I hope, is going to be high for these players. 18 trios up to live, 6 need to go down before that placement gets handed out. And yes, we are on Stark's Island. That low ground will be bumpy. That fall off cliff dive might be potentially possible.
And as we know, if it goes up, it's got to come back down. We saw it in game number 1 at that Polar Peak-like mountain. We're more than likely going to see it in game number 2. If it goes anywhere other than west, everyone's going to be sitting pretty well. We're going to see right here and see where it goes, and it goes right off. Oh, they're going to have to spend a lot to try to get off, as Eclipse is going to go down there in the momentary brief moment we didn't get to see, as now Crim's trying to make something happen. Unfortunately, Eclipse is going to fall. Now Crims with 0 match remaining. He's going to have to try to make a play. Dubs is going to fall down as well, and so does Crims. He gets taken out.
Out of respect for Crims, we had to just lag up the feed to not show him just getting absolutely dominated on. It's all good. Now Gonzo, Keox, and OSP. We saw OSP go down beforehand. In trouble. My God, the lottery loot just drops straight down like a slot machine out of that box. They get everything. Rotation, floppers, mats. Now they're 5-5-5 out of the gosh darn mines. And they're going to be moving in, possibly though, dropping off this big island fast. Actually, the zone's moving really slow. Shockwave's out. Gonzo's by himself. The whole trio was looking so good, so healthy. Now 2 of them, no shields, all separated. What happened?
I think it was that Shockwave. Not everybody knows how to set him on up, and Mero gonna take down Gonzo. They got the slot machine loop, but honey, when they went to cash it in, they forgot the house always wins. And now Keox playing by himself as a solo, OSP by himself as a solo. Keox may be able to get back to Gonzo to get the loot, but in turn, Kanata just went down. That is really, really big. Coop gonna be able to take him down. Edgy takes down Creo. That's it. I think they're out. I think Edgy, Commandment, and Sensei could be able to take home first place after this game.
They literally grab the trio and do a pull-up straight to first place from second. So let's see how long they survive. For me, I can't read a single name on my feed, but what I can see is everyone is dropping, waterfalling down, or just dropping on the feed itself. AJ with a huge dive down. Rox and Vix are alive. They're the first person to have their claim on height. But there are other shockwaves available in the game. There is Scented Commandment and Edgy still alive, and we saw when they are alive that they get the job done. Storm Surge is dropping down into the box right here of a, I think that's Endpin, I'm not sure. He's getting bullied by the server, not the bullets. Clicks takes out DP2. Clicks is still alive.
He is, but how much longer can he stay alive? He's got to get one more trio down before he starts getting placement points. As Niddle is popping off, Skittle's gonna go down there to Mega Rock, looking to try to find anything. Mega gonna be on your screen now, trying to get into these players' boxes. Shots are coming through. They did get that down, but will they be able to convert? And I think they will. Coop actually just gonna disengage. They say, we don't want to fight this. We don't want any of this. The Trap and Coop making the right decision there to get out, and shots coming through all around. Dubs is gonna go down, or Bizzle gonna go down rather. Dubs is very low. Mega, 5 eliminations. He's got a shockwave out. I don't know why he's just running around. Now finally choosing the shockwave, but there's a lot of builds in front of him. The meta build's not gonna be broken by just a little shockwave. As Mega now 5, Elam still trying to make his way through. 78 builds, now down to 68. Now down to 58. He's got Doom's Gauntlet, so he can make things happen. Clicks is actually going to be the one to take down Dubs, as we see Commandment falling there to Bucky. So Bucky is alive, taking out his competition.
Bucky is still the last saving grace in this game, and I know the feed is freezing up, but just read, for you slow readers, the Elam counts for this specific trio. The one game Mega Dubs and Bizzle gets to stay alive. Mega gets taken out at the end, but they almost had more than 10 eliminations, so they'll have a chance on that leaderboard spot. Right now, Vix is still holding on to height. Everyone's on the front side of zone. Plex is still alive somewhere in mid-ground. Vix, Rox, and AJ, 1 elimination across the trio. They're doing no work. Is it laziness or is it a smart play? Because they'll have to double down and win this game. Slacks and Animal popping off in the feed. 7 trios left.
Edgy and Bucky just went out at the exact same time, so the placement points going to be very, very, very minimal between them. That's still going to be for your first place. We got to keep our eye on there. But Rox, AJ, and VYX looking very, very good to show you how to keep the high ground from these moving zones, from fifth zone. In turn, though, Slacks, Acorn, and Jock looking very, very good. They've got shields. They're very, very healthy. They've got a shockwave there in their inventory. They've got crash pads as well. A campfire randomly to heal them up. We're going back to the Stark Industries little mountain that it's created. See if they're going to be able to clutch up. There's a lot of people missing a trio there. Shots come through. They're trying to clear their way in. You said bullets not being used, or pickaxes not being used to break the builds. Now everybody just using the bullets. Fire traps being placed. This is the first time we've really seen them being used with this fire trio staying in. But in all honesty, they should send Acorn and Slacks on up. Shots coming through. Jock gonna get a knock, but he's gonna get knocked in turn. Nas trying to make something happen there for his team. Simon gonna come through, but not gonna be enough. And I think Cal is still alive for some reason. No, not at all. Acorn gonna be there. Click's gonna go down, and Acorn gonna clutch it up. Slacks, Shock, and Acorn get the victory royale.
I have no idea how these guys end up winning all the way from the top side of the game. At the time, not sure exactly what happened with the second and third place slots. We'll have replays. We'll have the tournament results available as well. Once again, a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation in that end game, but I'm getting word that the gameplay was so hot, our servers were freezing up. So it's all good. All right, it happens. It's the player's fault. Let's just put it on that for playing too good. That being said, that's a win for Acorn and Jack. That is huge because these guys were in that top spot. Third place, they're trying to move up in the ranks as well. That being said, what did everyone else do, right? Bucky and Creo, they were alive. They were holding first anyways. We counted them out, Clay. We definitely did. And Bucky was still alive, though, to get the last few eliminations.
And so was Edgy. He was by himself there. Don't know if he got any eliminations, but he got the placement points to try to keep that gap close. Because at this point, they were tied. If you could keep it to 1, 2, 3, maybe even 6 points, you're in striking distance. But you, like you said, that victory royale in third place, they were only down 4 points coming into this game, Shio. That's going to be very, very good. And honestly, it should catapult them to the first place spot.
Yeah, I'm going to ask real quick if we have replays because we want to do this math to see if anyone does get catapulted into that first place spot. At the moment, still, there's actually no replays available whatsoever, so we'll have to wait for that leaderboard. Still, a good end game to wrap up. I want to know who ends up holding out first at the end of the day. At least for game number 4, and then when game 5 does end up coming in, unless I'm counting my games wrong, you can correct me, Clay. We'll have an insane last game 6 to drop down with. Every POI will be on the line, and these top 5 teams will have to battle each other for number 1.
It's going to be crazy. And like we saw, no one is changing up their strat. Not even Bugha, who has been eliminated off spawn every single time, except for first game, at that same exact chest.
Yeah, I don't know what's going down at that chest. It's unfortunate. The last game, Bugha just got kind of wrapped up. At the same time, we'll have a little bit more to talk about that. Let's tune in the monster as he has a little bit of a thing to talk about.
Hey man, listen, you know what? Let's bring the vibes back here. Let's get it going. It definitely was a little bit unfortunate, guys. Like we said, things are just going a little crazy. Nothing that we can do, right? It gets out of our hands at some points. But hey, let's talk about this Razer Raptor mounted giveaway. Like we said, GG Enterprise is bringing all kinds of goodies to you guys. The gleams will be thrown in the chat right here. This is $700 worth of value. You guys, you gamers, y'all like RGBs, you like lights. So to make it up for y'all, we're going to give away something real nice. Let's hook it up for the people here in the community. And again, we do apologize for the craziness, but it's all good, man. Jump in there, click the gleam, log into it. Still was a crazy endgame. This still is a great community event overall. Everything's going down, and it's happening all for good reason here. So click that gleam and hop on into that bad boy right there. Slow mode is going to be on temporarily while you guys have the opportunity to look at the link, click the link, and join the link. The way it'll work, it'll ask you a couple things to prompt to enter or get some points, right, towards your giveaway there. So follow the stream, right? Follow the Twitter, link your stuff up. It's very easy if you've never done one before. Definitely worth. Let's get back to the Castle Show. Let's jump back in. Let's talk some Fortnite, man. Because at the end of the day, this is still all that matters, right? It's the action. It's stuff popping off, man. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the standings here just to kind of see where we were coming in. It was 47 points, man, for Bucky, Creo, Kanata, Edgy, Commandment, and Emad there. They have 47 coming on in. This is a neck and neck kind of tied up towards the top. Or is it centered, right? But it was neck and neck coming in towards the top. It's ridiculous. It's still a great game. And then, obviously, things change up. Was it Jack and Acorn take the victory?
Yeah, I'll jump into it 100%. I'm looking at the standings a bit from last game as well. With Jack, Acorn, and Slacks taking that victory and having a large amount of elims, I'm just looking at them 100% being in first. Unless, I guess we didn't tune in with Bucky too much. They did something crazy. Same thing with Scented to get more elims. It's just placement kings for that game. We're definitely that Slacks, Acorn, Jack combination. So I want to see how that works out. Past that, though, man, I'm sad that the XZ Trio had another bad game. And I'm not sure why they chose to have that fight. Maybe it was over the Rift control. But either way, this is their last chance to bring it back.
Definitely is. Go ahead, Clay.
I think as well for COD Genesis, we talked about him. Started off really strong in 7th place right now, but just completely got eliminated way before placement. And I didn't see many eliminations on them. This is kind of their last little bit. They got 2 more games remaining, and they're going to have to really clutch up or do something big because it's not looking good for them.
So I think Prodigy Analytics just brought up that might have been their second win for Acorn, Jack, and Slacks there. Talk about big performances for coming in this late, right? Starting off with a hot momentum, kind of picking things up, and then now all of a sudden find themselves another way to a victory. I mean, the formula's there, the recipe's there. I mean, and regardless though, either way, Jack and Acorn are notable, credible, right? When it comes down to team-based game modes, they've done it, right? They kind of had their breakout moments during the FNCS duo times, and let's give them credit, right? For what solos was worth, they were qualifying for grand finals. They may not have been top 10s, but I think they were just outside. Acorn and Jack respectively both, or even breaking into top 20s. Great performances as solos, but I feel like from the community perspective, when you're not number 1, right, you're always going to be overshadowed. People forget, like, top 20s are pretty decent, right? Great runs. Top 10s even better. What do you think about a trio like this? They're thriving now, right? It's kind of like an underrated pick.
Yeah, I mean, with this trio, the one thing you mentioned a lot about Acorn and Jack, it's Slack's time now in a team mode, like with an FNCS going on, to actually have a show. Unfortunately, they didn't get to play the duos FNCS, but now here for trios, it's going to be cool to see what he has to bring to the table with all the experience through all these different modes, all these different teams. For the first time, we're kind of seeing him not really playing with keys officially. It's going to be really interesting, but I think this trio has a really good grasp of what each player does, and they have the experience and the wins to back it up. Game number 1 now in this tournament, and then game number 4 as well.
Yeah, and
we-
I was gonna say I just wanted to give a little credit there. Jack actually did finish third in FNCS Invitational. I'm getting that word here as well. So just correction on not but still true to the fact that if you're not first, you kind of get overshadowed. And that's what I meant by the players being kind of underrated. But go ahead, Clay.
Well, and even 2 points here, Furious as well got first, but kind of is undershadowed and underrated among a lot of these players. But today we've seen a lot of these trios like what we're seeing now with the Exit trio that have two very, very good dual partners. They add in a third, and then that synergy works really well. Same for Jack and Acorn. They're very, very, very good as a duo. Now they add in Slacks, and it's going very well for them. We'll see this, I think, continue over the next couple of weeks, because a lot of these players like Chap and Coop, right? They haven't really played together, but he kind of fills that same role as AV. You add in Skittles, who's a very, very great player. Could be very well for them as well.
I want to jump on a completely different topic. Instead of duos that added one, let's talk about strong individual players that are banding together and finding success. This brings me to Miro. And I know we had the slideshow, but it gave us all the ample time to read the feed. That man was going crazy. He was popping off left and right, even coming into the mid game, dropping players as the likes of, I believe, Zextro, Npen, and this is back-to-back tight concession within half in, half out. There is something to be said about these controller slayers, and Miro's one of those hypocrites, man. He'll tweet out one week like, yo, I'm not playing Fortnite no more, I'm done, and then all of a sudden, like, just show up and just slap in tournaments, man. I feel like that is the thing with this group. Maybe that's what brings them alike, because Reverse 2K is the same way. He gets in his slums, he's like, man, mentally, right? So we're talking about two people mentally that be like all over the spectrum, but then they just have these crazy moments of greatness. You can't help but root for people like Reverse 2K, Miro, Day as a team. But Miro's going wild, and we're talking 3 individual solo strong players.
Yeah, I mean, if you throw in Day with that duo, mental management becomes a lot easier. I mean, this man is the person to just triumph and just overcome all the opens and semis, kind of bogged down moments that happen, and just get first time after time after time. Pair that with Reverse, who's actually so much more optimistic than ever before. And then, I know Miro's a little bit more ebb and flowy, but when he pops off, that's like a 2-week charge of good mental that he has. He has to refresh maybe in another tournament or another game. So it's looking good for them right now, 100%. And I'm excited to see what they do in the upcoming FNCS and in this last game as well.
That is exactly how it's going to be. But Clay, I'm going to leave it to you to break down these leaderboards. They're coming up next. The standings are definitely going to look a lot different now that we have this team taking a new victory royale. So we'll see how it all is. Let the leaderboard do the talking for what we missed out on as far as the gameplay goes. So we'll get caught up here now, and we'll start fresh in the next game.
Yeah, and we're going to see who's in first, and it's by a lot. Jack, Acorn, and Slacks. Look at that. That, I think, is a 27-point lead over Sinton, Edgy, Commitment, Bucky, Creo, Anada, and moving on up there is Zypha, Nosh, and Clicks.
Okay, so I guess by game 4 or 5, a winner's already determined, because every single point jump we've seen so far has never been this big. Reminder too that Slacks, Jack, and Acorn have won 2 games in the competition thus far. It'll be these guys, I feel like, taking it straight home if they get to stay alive, maybe even just for half the placement in the next game. We can just fast switch over to the second page, because I feel like we'll have an update on this first page coming in. I want to see who can actually rival Degen, Adriz, and other players as well. Rokane, TJ, and Vo, who were on that first page, got knocked there. Miro, Reverse, and Day is who we were just talking about. They're in 10th. They could jump up into the top 8 at any moment. Joji, Gandhi, and Spade, though, are also climbing up, and we've tuned in with them in a lot of mid and early games.
Of course, while people are climbing up, there are some that are falling down, but still within striking distance of getting into that top 10. Genesis, Iron, and Qual there. Coop, Chap, and Skittles in 13, so they got a chance to really make it work. We'll go into the next page here to show you who's on that outside looking in. We've got Suzuki, Lazarpi, and Vivid kind of falling down. Malquid and Zextro, while they're doing very well, it hasn't been enough. East Blakeups and Keys there as well, 21st place, and we see Izzle, Mega, and Dubs there in 23rd.
Past that, I think on the last page, we have some of those teams who might not be coming in just yet, but regardless, the tickets might not be punched for them. The tickets are punched for everyone else in the game thus far. One of the last battle buses of the day are getting fueled up and rolling in. That next game is ready to go. Clay, one team right now. Who's it going to be to watch out for this game? Not to win, but who's going to pop off?
I'm going to go with Hin, Forceling, and Save It. They're at the very end. I want to see them pop up. I want to see something happen. And of course, you know, we've got the Bugha off spawn fight. Everyone's gotten this down to a T. We're going to see exactly what happens here. Who is going to come out on top? Bugha does not have the best drop. He's going to get bumped off again. No guns going to be there. Everyone's fighting. Everyone's pickaxing. Who's going to come out on top? And I don't think it's going to be Bugha and company. Is Bugha going to be down very low? Jemper down. Bugha, I think, down as well. Now, once again, it is only Avery remaining. This is 3-0 here for Scented, Edgy, and Commandment as Avery is just trying to run away.
I get it, you know, this is one of the most interesting ways to do a watch party for a tournament while actually playing it as well. Possibly not voluntarily though, because I don't think these guys are trying to throw whatsoever, but it's just so unfortunate that this one chess battle is happening every single game and these guys are down this pad over and over. Avery is trying for the sprays, but up against the pump, or with the pump, it's going to be hard for him to really do much damage. I mean, we're basically still seeing a little bit of skipping here going on with the feeds, but the things you need to know is that it's basically a 1v3. It's not going to be that hot for Avery to push forward with. It's going to be very difficult. Two players though on low HP, all three are looking in. Avery has some long range beams now, but I just don't think he can do it all by himself.
And we saw what happened last round when he decided to just disengage and run out. He just got eliminated in like 79th place. So it's not something that he really wants to do right now. He's got to try to make something happen. Maybe able to get a card, maybe not, but disengaging, while it will save you and get those points up, it's not going to be the best as we see Clix and Zypha getting eliminations there. The feed, Avery with that big showed up, will go back in, but how far will he push? How hard will he go into the game? And he does end up getting a reboot card there, so it's going to be really good for him. But Iron Man is still up, has not yet been taken down. Avery going to find more shields in the chug splashes. But I think now he's going to try to go for those Iron Man cards, try to get out whatever he can as Iron Man is firing back at Scented, Edgy, and Commandment. Avery trying to make it out. 2 builds remaining. The tire going to be shut out. He's flipping. This is GTA as the shot's going to come through. AV, 2 builds remaining. He's going to have to make something happen, but they are going in. They're not going to let it. The Spark Robot shooting him as well. No builds remaining, and he's just going to fall.
I was going to say, if this was a movie, AV or Avery could definitely pull some Nick Fury type Winter Soldier action there. Flipped car, 1 man against the world. Unfortunately, it's real life or it's the game. That's not going to be possible. No fairy tale ending here for that trio just yet. Kind of more of a sad one still. This fight is still going down. The beef is hot on Twitter. It's simmering, it's steaming. Saf, Stretch, Zayt, Bizzle, Dubs, Mega are not done yet. The big shockwave all the way up high from Zayt to come back and recollect position with his trio. Still not sure why they don't just dive into the vault immediately, but it might just be a bait thing. That or they don't have the card this game.
This is exactly what we saw last time. I'm so glad Stretch is not inside there because that's such a one-dimensional fight. Now he's got different angles that he can put on these players and alert Saf and Zayt if they're players coming in. They don't have to worry about just being pushed back into the vault, force the porta potty, and capitalized on because we all know where that porta potty goes. Zayt is all by himself now. I think Saf just actually porta pottied on out. He actually might still be there just trying to farm out whatever he can. Stretch not making his position known. I don't think they know he's there, and I think he's just trying to find any angle that he can get a beam on. I think now realizing that they've decided to maybe disengage, this maybe what we were talking about, right? Playing the POI rather than playing the people playing it.
Don't think that'll be the case. They will straight push in on it. We're switching over to Sweaty Sands. It'll be Zypha, Nosh, Clix as the other fight simmers down just a bit. Not going to be fully box fight contesting, so maybe one game we actually get to see these guys play some normal Fortnite. Honestly, though, when it's these players, is it ever normal, contested or not? They always end up doing something wacky, something zany. When it's Clix leading, sometimes the clutch calls, the last second pulls of a shockwave or a box dive, they always keep you on your feet.
They do indeed, and speaking of people that really need to think on their feet in these mid-game rotations has been DJ, Agers, and Animals, because DJ and them have not been very, very good at this mid-game area where, you know, Animal and Aspect used to thrive. Now moving into trios, not playing together, it's a completely new trio. Agers has bounced around from duo to duo to trio to trio. They're really going to have to make something happen. Their loot does look good here for now, but the zone pulling away from them. I'm worried that they're rotating just a little bit too late.
3:30, I think we'll have enough time, especially with boats, maybe even a few whiplashes. We saw the Slack strat of just running around in big cars. So that wasn't Slack, that was Sprite Tahi, their trio partner. Whew. Breathe it in, Clay. This is the one calm moment we get to get. This is game number 5. I feel like some people might be bunkering down. I know you said the back half of these games, there's a lot of change that ends up happening. I feel like between games 5 and 6, that change gets solidified. People stop being so crazy. That last game, especially in the end game, it was just so chaotic. Every single person in trio. Man, up top, it's going to be TSM Kanata getting taken out by Dictate and traded, actually.
And Bucky going down as well. So that is a very, very big fight. We know that they're pretty far behind. I think 29, 28 points there, if my math is right, on the leaderboard behind first. As we swap over to Zayt and company, who are still in Dooms. Bucky is going to fall there. Kanata did get taken out. So now it's all up to Creo if he is still up and moving. But this fight is going to continue to happen. There was some back and forth beef on Twitter already. After that last game, we called it. We would see the tweet, and it was there. But now, who's going to be the one that tweets out this time? Will it be Zayt? Will it be Bizzle? Who's going to come out on top? Because right now, they're just hunkered down. And luckily for them, they can do this because they have the zone.
For now, at some point, that circle will end up moving straight off Doom's domain. It's not central, so the longest this fight's really gone down, and I feel like it'll still be a fight. There's Creo, taken out by Dictate. I'm not sure if that was the last person. Maybe Bucky's still left. Last time we saw Bucky left alive, he ended up getting a few eliminations to really stay strong and true and get a few points off in that game. The big thing, though, is we watch Zextro coming in here. These guys, or this time, these guys are choosing Doom's Domain instead of Stark Industries. Freedom of choice, I guess. But there's a 20-point gap almost for first place. Bucky, Crew, Kanata were one of the trios that could go and affect that, and now they are taken out. So even less chance for Slacks to lose the lead.
And notice, they're not going into the vault because they don't know there's a team down there. And that's really good for Zayt's team as Mega, Bizzle, and Dubs are going away from them. They're trying to run away, but there's Extra not going to let it happen. And in the meantime, there's an Xset fight happening. So this is good. We haven't seen any knocks on the Xset side. They've all been up and getting eliminations themselves. And this is great. They were also in contention to move their way up. I think it was hit place there at the end of it all. But look, Macwood knows there's someone in here. He knows that they just did not finish this quickly. And if this fight happens, it's going to be a pretty big fight. Two very, very big teams fighting each other. And Calc says, you know what, I'm going to go in. And this is actually very effective. You can break the builds with it, especially because they weren't a lot of metal. I think he just wanted to get over it really quickly. But they did not go all the way in.
Possible PTSD for Zayt hearing that sound because one of those last games, the taxi was the thing that was his demise. Other card being picked up by the Colossal Trio. FaZe Trio waiting up in Doghouse. I don't think they have any treats though. They're literally hold down, chained, backs against the zone and the walls. I don't know what Calc, Mac, and Zex are really doing, where they start off their entire loot path, but it is working out so well, and they get to have a say and a taste of any major POI they choose every single game.
And wait, is that Zextro with Doom's Gauntlets there? I think it is. I think somehow he picked up Doom's Gauntlets that weren't picked up by either teams. So I'm really not sure it is. Zextro has to. What is happening here?
I don't know, but I feel like no team here really wants to play out this game to the end. If Zex, Mac, and Calc wanted to win this game, they'd already be center zone. Stretch is somehow still waiting up in here. Everyone just seems like they want to take down the FaZe squad or just take down each other. Up in the brick house, Saf, Stretch, Zayt trying to pinch over. But on the outsides, Doom's Gauntlets are rotating away.
It seems like that is Zayt going LMG ham. He's going to get white tag, but he's also down to white. Shots come through, and it's Mega that's going to take him down. And now they're fighting the original two trios that contested are fighting each other as Bizzle's gonna finish off Zayt there. Now a 2v2 stretch very low. Dubs very low. Saf is pretty healthy, but Bizzle can contest that. You gotta be careful though. The continued LMG spam is gonna be very hard to outbuild. The house is on fire. They've got to run. Bizzle's got to make a play. Shot's gonna come through, but the play is not there to be made. Saf's gonna be the one to do it. Dubs and Mega have to make something happen. As Saf can get the elimination there onto Bizzle, but Stretch very, very low, just continuously throwing that bomb in there. He's got the epic pump shotgun. If he can make something happen there, but I'm not sure he can. Saf is the focus for now. Stretch nowhere near. They don't know that he's there. They don't know that he's anywhere near. He did build out a metal there. Shockwaves are going to come through. Saf trying to get any loot that he can. Shockwave is going to be picked up. Stretch trying to make a play. Shockwave's being used. Stretch is now going to hit by zone. He's got to be careful. Reboot is going to be picked up, but Stretch is just going to go down in zone, and it's actually really good. If he doesn't go down to a player, they can't get the siphon off of him right away. They can find him, but they won't know exactly where he is. After's trying to keep the pressure up. There's 2v1 right now. Stretch does go down. He actually goes down to Mega, who he had been hit 60 seconds prior.
Grief Fest, Storm Fight. Grief Fest, Storm Fight, and it's happening every single game between this trio. And they're rivals literally of this season, man. These guys are playing a completely different format. I swear to God. It has nothing to do with points. It has nothing to do with placements or eliminations. Everything to do with ego, respect, and honestly just complete domination.
And Mega just got the siphon from Stretch going down, and he hears that, so he's gonna go in for it. And this is just exactly what you're talking about. The egos, they do not want to give it up. They don't care at this point in time that they are in their zone and second zone's about to close. It's gonna start ticking for 2. They don't care that they're throwing away where they are. What they care about is right now they are higher on the leaderboard than Zayt, Saf, and Stretch. And that they are going to see that Saf is going to go down. No heals here. He didn't make a play. And then we're probably going to see maybe a dance, maybe an L dance from him.
I don't know. Okay, we can give them that win, but it's just so much more enjoyable. And dare I say, it counts more if they're facing down the barrels of each other's guns. I'm not going to say that one doesn't count. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have a bias here by any means. Smart plays overall. I just wanted to see more taxi chases. I wanted to see more trophy emotes, you know? That felt real, though. That felt absolutely real.
And we know you're a big fan of that mythic taxi. Very, very useful to get away, but I agree. It felt kind of like there was something left over on the play that, you know, we didn't get to see happen. There was something that we were waiting to happen.
I get it. It's because Calc came in, affected that fight. The parameters of the fight changed. We had to take that a little bit more seriously. It wasn't an isolated 1v1 or an isolated 3v3. Das needed to be hit on all pedestals or on all pedals. I think Bizzle Dubs Mega made the right call of not really going for that box dive anymore, fighting 2 separate teams. Crazy that they're going to be able to play out their game. I'm just not sure how much of a game they have left to be played out from that position.
And just look at this constant spray here from the Exit trio, but only able to pick up 1, and now they're going to go for it. This is not what you want to do. If there's someone that just got sprayed down and you're trying to go for that loot and you're a little bit farther away, it is not at all what you want to do. But this is what they do need to do, to sit, wait, and get as many eliminations as they can, because there is such a huge gap between first, second, and third place right now.
They're rolling with it. They have 4 so far. Mats are maxed out 2. You're right, though, on position. You gotta be very careful. Still on my mind, though, like, game 5, who's in the lead play? Zayt or Bizzle? Even track?
I think it is... God, first game went over to Zayt, second, third, and I think fourth went over to Bizzle, and now fifth. I think they're up 4-1.
Is it 4-1?
It may be 3-2, but I think Bizzle's up.
We need our top tier analysts on this stat more than the leaderboards, honestly. I need to know who's winning Doom's Domain. Today, at least. It's 3-2 Zayt right now. So Bizzle won the Crazy Taxi game, and then the Calc Invasion game as well. Interesting. Okay.
And
Excellent.
here's what that poses an issue. If they tie 3-3, we're gonna see this in FCS Warm-Up Finals, in FNCS Finals, and FNCS, all the weeks. We're gonna keep seeing this, right? There's not gonna be a, oh, they're better. It's a, oh, well, they tied. Okay, well, now what? Well, and scrims and everything else, we're gonna keep seeing the exact same thing over and over.
I guarantee, even if one of those teams goes 5-0, Clay, these guys will do it all the way till FNCS Grand Finals.
I don't doubt you there, Shio.
Guarantee it. I will lock it in. Still, a lot more game to be had for the other teams who are actually playing this out all the way to the end and don't really have that much drop spot drama. Here is your winning team. I would even just say for the tournament, if they're alive at this point and close to the next zone. There's the little blurb for it on the left as well. These guys literally are fresh off a first place in a Trio Cash Cup. And right now, I'm not sure how that Trio Cash Cup actually started off. They started off hot with the first win and now had the most recent one in Game 4 as well. This is Acorn, Jack, and Slacks, by the way, that we're talking about.
What could be an issue here for them is that this rotation is very late and they are going to start to get focused. And they're 8 trios away from going and getting placement points. And see, this is exactly what I just mentioned. They are getting focused because they rotated too late. Building out a metal, he's going to run out soon. Luckily for him, it's starting to solidify and everyone else is kind of taking their eyes off of him. This is still really bad because the position for him is not the best. If it pulls anywhere other than on top of him, he's going to have a hard time rotating with this trio.
That's true. I just feel like they might be getting... Actually, I thought they were at the bottom right. Maybe they were somewhere near the top. Maybe making a beeline for the white line towards zone is better than going for that overall wraparound position. Either way, one of the teams that can contest them in case they do go down, we know that Acorn, Jack, and Slacks are in trouble. Santin, Commitment, and Edgy. Right close by, top 3 currently. Winning Offstart Industries game after game. And they have that cutting edge technology in the loadout, man. Shockwaves, legendary, Stark AR rifles.
Looking good. They're set up in a great spot as well. AV is going to fall there to Illis in the feed as we're talking about people that are set up great. They were set up very, very well, but getting a little bit too aggressive now. Knight and Shark trying to reclaim everything so they can get the res off. It seems like it may have been a snipe. This is what they need. 5 eliminations and they have to keep pushing their aggression. But Knight gonna be focused at. He's not building out a metal. He needs to save that. Shockwave gonna come through. Don't know exactly where that went or who went up and down. As Clicks is gonna take down Mikey. They are gonna be able to pick up the revive there onto AV, which is really, really good for him. The continued pressure down below. Shots coming through. Knight doesn't care. They don't care that they just picked up a down teammate. They know they need to be this aggressive, and they are one of the trios that can do that.
They're playing off of everyone else around their box. That is usually the win condition these guys have in terms of getting successful rotations, getting towards the end of the game. So we'll see if they can keep it up, because right now everything's going according to plan.
Who's not going according to plan, rather, is this team right here, Gonzo, OSP, and Kiox. They are still all alive, but you see being very aggressive, trying to get that harpoon and get any loot that they can, but being blocked off by his teammates and continued box fights going back and forth between these players. They do get that one elimination on Kiox's side, who's fishing now in a bad spot. The entire zone pressuring him. He's in the middle of the zone, and sometimes this is the worst place to be. Even though you're set up in a good spot, you're like, I'm in middle. Why am I getting focused? That's because everyone has an angle on you. And he's running out of mats. AJ gonna go down there.
Oh no!
Exactly who? I think it was Blake that ended up taking down. VYX with a 200 though. The shots come through and almost making the play. VYX though not able to do it. Blake gonna take him down with 6 eliminations. His entire trio is down though, Shio.
Nyx had a chance to stay alive there, just need to land a few more headshots with that AR spray all the way towards the very end. Blake is looking for some cover fire with the sniper rifle. Last alive indeed. Covering, I guess, just himself in this rotation. It's pretty free, but I don't think he has the master, the know-how to be able to survive all the way towards the end in a trio situation. I mean, I'll double back on that. Has the know-how, just not enough firepower or utility in a team. As a solo, it's so difficult to get it done. One player also down once again, Crunchy in the Who Fishy Jade combination. it'll be all up to Hoofishy and Jay to actually push forward this game as a duo. Everyone now making their bases on top of each other, beside each other too. We see Zextro lobbing 3-pointers all the way towards the other side of the zone, and with doing so, covers the rotation path. These guys double bouncer all the way over towards where those gauntlets were being fired. 19 trios left alive as the moving zone starts in about 5 seconds.
And I saw Acorn and Jack in the feed. Not sure exactly what happened there, but they were there. I think Jack got elimination. I think Acorn may have just went down. This is rough. Again, we're 7 trios away from placement point, not coming in at top 12, and they need to maintain it, because if they're not getting any eliminations, they're going to be stagnant, and that 27-point gap can very easily be closed very quickly. Agers picking up elimination there. We see a lot of people going down. I think that's the Roller falling. Hoofishy and Jatho doing very well. Click's going to take down Polarize. I know everyone wondering if Click is still alive. He's able to make it. That being sent to the Edging Commandment that's being fired at. And look, once you get Doom's Gauntlet, it looks like it's a free high ground here for Calc, Macwood, and Zextro.
They could possibly seal the competition back-to-back games against Acorn, Jack, and Slacks, or anyone else. On the feed, though, big changes.
Yeah, Jock just going down there, so he is only knocked. There's no ways they're going to be able to get the res. Only 1 player remaining, and again, Trial, they are not in placement threshold.
That's going to be tough for these guys to be able, or actually not really. They're going to be solidified up there, still at first, hopefully, with almost a 20-point lead. Tough, though, to not further it over. COD Genesis, off of Game 1, strong, dominant, elimination-based performance, now taken out once again. Keox with the second elimination, last player left alive here, so every player he sees will be a threat. No one will be able to help him moving forward. There is shockwaves in his inventory, but no launcher for him to be able to use the weapon he was so comfortable with seasons before. Now getting focused by Second Height, they possibly know, or focused by Height on Second Height, you possibly know that he's a solo. 5 builds left. Using a shockwave to get ahead, not go up, and while he's ahead, he could dive into a box. No mats left at all for Keox.
Going to be a very hard road to climb as Owl is going to go down. We see another elimination coming over from Hoofishy. Backwoods, X, and Calc, though, while they do have high ground, they're getting no eliminations. And we do see Knight, AV, and Shark in the mid ground. They're all here. This was your pick, child. They're trying to step it up in this game number 5. They got 1 more game after that. Again, I think all of Jack's trio is out, so they could start to come up as well. I don't see Commandment, Scented, or Edgy there as well. Nosh and Cypher there in the feed as we're actually going to hop over here to them. Clicks is down, but did pick up 3 eliminations. We do see AV picking up fire there. A lot of Doom's Gauntlets being rained down onto Cypher, but he's able to get out. He's got Sun Splashes. They're in a really good spot.
This is going to be tough for any team to really contest Height. We have Zextro, Macwood, and Calc defending high ground, raining down with Doom's Gauntlets. They have that double jump available. They have pressure from on angles dropping down. Anyone really just trying to make it in, like Sizz is getting pumped by mid-ground teams. None of these mid-ground teams have shockwaves to boost up the height. And even if they did, Zextro is just making it so uncomfortable for anyone to just stay and think alone in their boxes. Cypher now is taking Storm. A little bit behind everything. He's looking for any type of play he can actually make. Both players now possibly playing solo on 2 different sides of the map. Still, Calc all the way up on Height. The Height team is dropping down.
They are, and this is where we expect to see it in this 7th, 8th, 9th zone to start to make your way down and start to try to get as many eliminations as you can. See, only getting 1. Actually going to take High ground, take it from him, but Angel's going to go down to Calc, and Animal going to go down to Calc as well. Calc popping up there on high ground. Nosh in a box, those shots coming through, hits the 100, and he's going to get the elimination. That's going to be used, but he's got a crash pad to maybe get him out there, but he's in the boxes. Big hit there. He's going to take down TJ, but not able to make it happen, and everyone remaining is just at the whim of Calc, Zextro, and Mac, and it's XSET versus TSM and BBG.
TSM, BBG on Height, XSET all the way down on low. All 3 players left alive from both trios. AV has the potential for shockwave plays. Shark already is out of high water. Can't breathe, taken out by Mac. Mac is the first line of defense, and guess whose shot landed? Zextro is still active. Every single lightning strike will chain. Still, 1 other elimination by Macwood. He takes down AV. Macwood is the one individual making things happen off the back foot of Zextro's pressure and damage. Knight now in another clutch position, but in this 1v1 of trios, it's not going to be possible for him to do anything. It's TSM that has the advantage and the overall win in game number 5.
Pick up 7 eliminations, and it may be enough to put them in that top 10. We'll have to see, but they're definitely not going to be enough to contest first, which is going to be up to those top 3 teams because they were kind of all there in that at 12th place area. We'll see. But we definitely have some replays we got to check out, Shio.
Yeah, let's check them out and see exactly which teams actually were highlighted and hot with action. It was VIX that we saw get one of those eliminations onto Cease, a high retake trio who never got anything done because their main man was down to VIX. And past that, Zypha, a big pick off onto Sizz. This is all these end game moments. It was that TSM BBG combination on height though that ended up winning everything.
As you see, Zypha, though, did put up a good effort there on the backside, getting Suzuki and I believe Vivid there. Nosh with these incredible shots, able to get that elimination and then crash pad into a box, edit the wall, and get another elimination there onto TJ, unfortunately falling just moments after.
Man, the one thing I want to see possibly is Macwood's perspective that game on which shots he hit, because time after time, it just felt like he was hitting only 200s over and over again onto Xset. That was really cool, though, to see a final trio showdown in game number 5, as well as that beef also in the early game.
Yeah, there's a lot of beef, but I think Monsters got something to tell us about.
Hey man, more than just that, of course, this is the action, the Fortnite action that's unfolding. What a great end game, like you said, a clash of 2. And talk about clash of 2, it's gonna be the clash of GG Enterprise and some goodies. We got some more giveaways for you guys. Jump in now in the chat. They'll be dropping a Gleam link for all of y'all at home. Like we said, we've just given away a $700 monitor. Now we have something else here. SteelSeries Apex Pro TKL Fire keyboard. Guys, get your lighting on. Just take a look at that bad boy right here. If I'm not mistaken, this is mechanical. Shio Wager does use this one as well. You can see the grip on the bottom half is up to the game comfortably here. So enter in, guys. The way this is going to work out is you click that Gleam link, you link your account, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. You follow the socials inside of it, and long story short, you will be drawn, and hopefully may the luck be on your side, because the giveaways are nonstop. This is going to be the 5th one we've given out so far today. All of these are happening right in between and after games. So please stay focused, pay attention. That's what's happening. And it's coming out of the GG Enterprise chat. There it is. There goes the copy pasta. So please enter and good luck. All right, we're going to toss back to the gameplay though here, as that was a great game 5. What a great way to bounce back, get things stabilized, right? Watch that gameplay all unfold. I saw you guys started to groove. Like the chaos we saw in game 4, we saw a whole lot of it coming into game 5, early game, zone 1 and 2, the collide of players on top of the Doom's domain. Take me through a little bit of that, Shio, because for a second there, it was just looking like shenanigans, but at the same time, I mean, it matters, right, for the longevity of what is the story that's unfolding here, because, you know, at the end of the day, you got to prove who's the best.
Yeah, if you guys missed it, basically right now, Doom's Domain, one of the hottest, if not the hottest spot on the map with a vault, is being contested by Zayt, Saf, and Stretch versus Abyssal, Dubs, and Mega. So a phase trio versus the Godfathers. And in this game, it was Calc that actually ended up coming in with Zex and Malk, grabbing the gauntlets, using them to win the game, but also affecting that entire fight, making Bizzle, Dubs, and Mega take it a little bit more seriously and actually disengage completely in the storm.
And it puts a little more weight onto Doom's gauntlets. You saw the strength. As soon as they picked them up, they were able to put unlimited pressure onto all the teams from a pretty substantial distance, right? You're talking, these things go down range. They just have a little bit of bullet drop, and then carry them into endgame, where the pressure continued. For a second there, I did want to give a little bit of attention to someone who I think is just driving his way up the standings. We started things off by bringing up the Air versus Cease kind of controversy debate, right? The clash between the two. They have effectively jumped their way up to 21st place, right? Bringing up a total of 20 points. But when we tuned in for a second there, their mid-game prowess was ridiculous. They were running through so many teams all of a sudden in game 5. When you think, hey, you know, we're out of the running, you kind of, you know, you loosen up, you just kind of throw your games away, you grief, so people like to call it. I mean, it paid off that time around. They picked up a bunch of points. Now they're in the question. They're in the run, right? They're in the talk for possibly even a top 10 finish now.
I think at that point they had 9 eliminations and 6 of them were on the back of Blake. That just shows you how strong of those moments he is. We even saw him at one point while trying to crash pad rotate, pull the sniper out to try to get one more elimination to secure that rotation. So they're stepping up. They said, like Monster said, it's game 5. They're feeling loose. They say, you know what? You got nothing to lose here. Let's go all out.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, like, how does that feed into the confidence that is the players, right? Put yourself in that situation, Shao. I mean, you play a little Fortnite, maybe not at the highest competitive levels, but I'm sure you can relate when you start getting grooving. That's a relief off of your shoulders, and more importantly, it's the confidence that maybe they need to prove to themselves, right, moving forwards for other tournaments and other fresh starts that are up ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's one big thing that you need when it comes to especially playing trios with missing pieces. I feel like that was also a theme of that last game. Every single trio we were tuning into, solo player, a duo, like every single person actually got one of their legs cut off coming into that end game, and then had not as much of an effect on other trios. The only ones that actually stayed alive were the full trios towards the very end. But confidence is 100% key. The more numbers you have alive, though, the more confident you can be.
And the White Shot showed it right there. It was a good old-fashioned 3v3. Xset team, man, they find themselves in low ground a lot. They're not one to play for high ground. If any of you guys at home, take a step back and want to review the style of gameplay, they have a certain style coming into those end games, because it was a difference, right? It was a very stark difference. You're looking at Zextro, Mac, and Calc, who love to go for height. They'll do anything in their power to snatch that height and battle for it, right? And then dominate and win a game with a ridiculous amount of eliminations. That's how they've been doing it. That's how they did in the previous season. And then Xset's entire roster, Av, Shark, Knight there, all doing something completely different. They played low ground, but they played exceptionally well. Just a completely different course of action. But it seems like their strategy is working out better this time around. It's a little more consistent, at least from what we're watching unfold here. Well, let's just talk about that for a second, because that was your pick. And I mean, they're proving it once again. I know we've been going back and forth on this one, but this is a team I want to give a bunch of love to because they deserve it. Shout out to Av. He keeps jumping into the GG Enterprise chat as well. So, he's tuning in too. Like, this is some great stuff.
Yeah, when it comes to AV9 and Shark, the biggest thing that I feel like why low ground's a little bit better than high ground when it comes to just playing that playstyle. No one is like shockwaving into your box low ground or using bouncers to get into your box. Everything's readable. You can stay ahead of zone. You use less mats. It's not as contested, and multiple people can hold ultimate low ground and stay alive. Only one team can really be on height. And if you're close to height, your second height, you're getting focused by that height team. And if it's Zextro and he has arcane gauntlets, you're not surviving. So when it comes to Xset, their playstyle is actually a little bit just more viable and a little bit more consistent, and that's why they are consistent. When it comes to Calc, Mac, and Zex, their playstyle is just a little bit more pop-offy, and that's why they pop off more, but are not as consistent.
Well, you're talking about consistency. That's what's going to matter when it comes down to Game 6, because the leaderboards are here. They're ready. Take a look at how close it has become. Now we actually have people that close the gap here. Slacks, Jack, and Acorn didn't gain that much, guys. So Clay, Shayo, this is going to be a close tournament now moving forwards.
So 2 points for the first place team. Zypha, Nosh, and Clicks, though, close that gap quickly. But so do AV9 Shark, and so do Scented Edgy Commandment. It is all within 10 points in that top four. Top 5 goes down to 20 points. So really, this is a game between the top 4. Who gets eliminated on spawn, who's able to make the rotations into the end game, and who's able to stay alive and get that victory royale.
Let's jump on the bus completely and just look at how these guys will drop, what will happen to every single team. Will Bugha stay alive at the chest once again in one of these games? You were saying it's a top 4, kind of a game between them. I would say all those shows we saw in the top 8 are at risk. We've seen them go down in mid-game. We've seen them have 0-point games, all at the same time sometimes as well. So this could be anyone's game really in the top 15. Who knows what happens in this one? Let's tune in though with Tendy, Wrigley, and Dictating, I think, on the right, or maybe we're just trying to find Bugha before we jump into Stark Industries. I see 2 different trios trying to land there already. One owns the chest, one actually ends up landing off towards the side. It looks like these guys might be going for an old-fashioned fight. Nope, never mind. Bugha's already so low.
And but Scented is down. Avery's the one that just knocked him. So while Bugha is low, Scented has been eliminated. So now, while they're in that fourth to fourth place spot, they decide not to go for the usual strategy of landing on the chest and playing a little bit more passively. And it looks like they're actually landing at that hangar, that northwest spot. And they've completely decided, you know what, we're going to play a little bit safer. This is the last game and we have a chance to go for first. But I doubt that they're going to do this when it comes time for FNCS. During FNCS, I'm going to assume they're going to, every 6 games, they're going to land on that exact chest.
I feel like it's definitely one place to alpha up on in grand finals and opens, maybe playing it a bit safer. Not sure exactly how many teams will be trying to alpha Starks, but still both strats 100% viable. talking about viability, I feel like everything's thrown out the window over here. It's not about points. It's not about the format. It's just about winning the POI at all costs.
And you talk about winning the POI at all costs. We're back. It's 3-2 in favor of this man right here, this Team Zate. We'll see if they're going to be able to make anything happen.
Hold up. Hold up. Not sure if it's going to be an excuse, but Bizzle is not in the game. Their trio thought it was only 5 games long, did not actually queue up inside, so we will not actually get a resolution. Now, you can come to conclusions yourself as to, was it a dodge for the final game 6? Or is it just a little bit more of the world making a mystery for us when FNCS comes around? The record stands, though, for this tournament, 3-2 without a conclusion.
And I think, honestly, that's worse than both of them going down to the zone at the very end of that last match. Like, I think we all want to just see it. I don't know what happened. Maybe you make your own assumptions, but look at this. Bugha and company are pushing Edgy and Tinted and Commandment out. AV going in. Bugha says, hey, what's up? I've brought a car and I'm going right in, breaking all the builds. That's actually really good for him. That's going to force Edgy out. Commandment needs to get out of this. He needs to just try to leave Edgy to fight. They could 2v3 it, but the shot's coming in. There's a third party as well. Jamper is going to take down Edgy, and Commandment has said, hi, I am going to leave. I'm going to try to do whatever I can, but hey, there's 10 seconds on that Rift Child. They can follow.
10 seconds of doom and destruction, but it's Starks Industries POI that these guys are going to be running down on. Jamper already boxed up, made a huge base for Commandment. There is another team that is looking over. I believe that is Rox, AJ, Vix who are trying to, and Rox actually picks up Commandment. Jamper picks up Edgy.
You know, 4 out of 2 games of winning the POI is good for that confidence. It shows, you know, hey, we've established that we know if you're going to drop on this chest, we are going to alpha you up and eliminate you every single time. The 2 times it seems like they didn't drop on the same chest, they did not end up winning the POI. So that gives them some insight going into FNCS warmups and FNCS that they need to really focus on those outside of the chest drops. I see Arab going down there to Cease actually taking him out, but that rivalry still happening. It seems like everywhere on the map we're having a little bit of a rivalry today.
I mean, the big thing when it comes to rivalry is the result of that rivalry every single time. One of the top 3 teams not going to be here in game number 6. One of the top 3 teams not going to stay in the top 3 for this tournament. Unfortunately, that will be Scented, Commandment, and Edgy. Stow Panda also have had the back half of Sweaty Sands. Just been irritated the entire time. It's been a rough experience. They haven't really gone anywhere whatsoever. Now knocked again by Clix's trio, this time in record speed.
And it looked like in these first couple of games that Daxter and company were able to really put up a fight against this trio. But as Clix, Sypha, and Nosh really got together, really got their synergy on track, they were just able to absolutely outpower them. And that's what they need. They needed this fight to end quickly. They needed to get all the eliminations that they can. And now they need to move. You see a player nearby, the entire trio there at that little lake house. They're going to loot up. They're going to heal up and get as much as they can. They have to stay alive because right now they're one of the few teams that can actually contest. However, in contrast, Bucky, Creo, and Commandment, or Kanata rather, are looking very, very good at this fight, very, very healthy, and this is what they need. They have to get big, high game eliminations and the victory royale, so they need to put up 10, 13 eliminations to really contest for that first spot. But Bucky getting split here, Creo getting split as well, very, very low HP. I don't know if this fight's going the way they wanted it to.
Bucky does get one good shot to possibly switch it to the way that he wants, but this is not Arena. These are going to be players that know exactly what they're doing. High caliber box fighters all the way around, making this very hard. Even one shot that Bucky, Creo, or Kanata land, or every shot these guys land, it's so much harder to wrap fights up. A nice pre-fire there though. And wow, another back-to-back, possibly a third coming in from Kanata. He takes out 2. This is going to be Wrigley, the man who's trying to dominate Weeping Woods. Fast rotate from Slurpee. He's going to get Kanata another big shot. The follow-up 2, 3 pumps back-to-back. 4 shots of the pumps in total. Nice eliminations, and all 3 early elims go to Kanata. They'll have a reboot van and get Bucky up shortly.
And that, again, that's what they needed. Reaping is, with this zone, very easy to rotate through because you got a lot of natural materials that you just are easy to farm up. but they are going to be able to get out very quickly as well. Again, another example of finishing your fights very quickly. However, in contrast, we see all the way by Craggy, Stretch, and Zaf, and you can only be one team that really is over here, Shio, and I think we all know who it is.
The beef extends all the way to Zex, Mac, and Calc. Jumping in, possibly taking an item, possibly stepping foot into their domain one too many times. Zayt, Saf, and Stretch, or Zayt, Saf, and Stretch are not happy. Tongue twisters, all these trios, man. And now Zayt's actually moving up. Oh my god, complete box control. Oh no, if that shot landed, that's a clip and a half for the montage. But he's shot in from the backside by Macwood. Macwood is always going to be there when this team needs them to secure one of those first eliminations in all these 3v3 fights. Saf now taken out afterwards. This trio is in shambles. Stretch, no mats left. A war of attrition that TSM and BBG end up winning.
And that was just something that they honestly did not need to take. We all know that TSM and BBG land there, right? We've been landing there since the first trios. They kind of pioneered that barrel strat that we all know and kind of go out early, but he just did not need to do that. And now, in turn, we're on board with Jampa, Bugha, and Avery as they are going aggressive. They just finished the fight, and now they're going for yet another one. Again, another team that really needs to be aggressive to put themselves into that top 10. Bugha did get tagged up. No eliminations here for him, but Avery continuing the pressure. They did take down Scented and company as Avery didn't drop down, but he's got heals. This is looking very, very good. Again, it's versus Clarity, Mikey, and Niddle there.
I think everyone at this one is just trying to get every fight possible towards a close by POI. Just so they have the experience, not only that, but maybe they can pressure people off of coming towards their spots ever again. Zayt tried to do it to Calc, it didn't work. Avery, Bugha, and Jamper are trying to do it over to Mikey. It's working so far. A 1-for-2. Jamper gets dropped down, but a big 110 shot afterwards makes this fight spin on its toes. Another one from Avery, and this man is now 50 HP in the box. It's going to be so hard for Niddle to do anything at the moment. Getting chased down, build after build after build. Shockwave blocked?
I'm not too sure what happened there, but Avery going to be the one to pick up that elimination for now here for him.
That was Clarity, my bad. Same org. Halfway counts.
Halfway counts. I agree. Halfway counts a lot more than, 1/4 of the way. But speaking of 1/4 of the way there, Clicks and company, they were, I think, 2 or so points behind first place going into that game. And I think it's going to be very, very, very close if they're able to make something happen. Now, already 3 eliminations. We in turn don't know what slacks Jack and Acorn have in terms of eliminations. But right now, that's all the points that matter because we're not into that top 12. We've got to get 11 more trios that go down before placement comes through. And right now, they're looking really good. 4 floppers, mobility, almost max materials here. No one in sight on their rotation. They're setting up very well, Shia.
It's good to have a good setup as well, especially in this game, because it looks like every trio that's heading into a fight, all 3 members are being taken out. And all 3 members are surviving on the other side from the winners of these fights. Tahi, Game, and Strike trying to get back together at one of the edges of Stark Island. Man, this is literally just 3v3s across the whole map.
It isn't. Look, Bugha and company, again, in another fight. They don't want to go out without trying to get as many elims as they can. And this shows what happens if they can get off spawn. This is something that they should have been doing early, right? Again, we goes back to these egos of, hey, I'm going to keep landing here. I'm going to keep landing here. I'm going to keep landing here. And then finally they change it up, and rather Scented and company change it up because they're close to first. And look, it allows Bugha, Jamper, and Avery to absolutely thrive. These box fights, the prowess here is so good from this team. They have a lot of shields, but the question is, can they continue to push it? Or are they going to aggressive? Avery trying to get angles, trying to find any shots that he can. Right now, it looks like they're just taking a lot of damage and not dealing anything. There's Gandhi right there. They may have found an opening. Gandhi going to be able to get out for the time being.
3 different angles, 2 different trios all over it up in this fight. And oh my god, they're literally taking turns, taking shots at each other from the same wall box to box, but with 3 different POVs. Jampernos has just kind of changed tides, changed tunes, and go towards a backside angle. No, actually, just to group up with this trio. Hard to keep track of who's where at the moment. The skins are slightly different from each trio as well. Jamper, though, is the one putting down the most pressure out of any other person in this fight whatsoever. There's a shockwave that comes down. I think that was Bugha going all the way up. All 3 members still alive. Knocks on 2 different squadrons as well. Another trio is just posted up right beside them too. Now there's 4 in the fight.
I think so. I think it's 1 player remaining from a solo, and then these 2 trios siding, and then now we've got a 3rd, 4th, and 5th party. It seems like a very complicated math expression that they're going to have to try to figure out here. Bugha getting shields. Avery not going to have any. The peppers are there for Bugha, but this site taking way too long. They're running out of mats. 27 builds here on Bugha. Not a lot to work with in terms of HP there. They do have the bandage bazooka, but they're breaking down. Shots coming through. They're going to find a player. Bugha going to get a shot at 190, but he's going to trade. Jamper going to be able to pick up the elimination in turn, but will it be enough? Bugha going to get finished off. Riverside going to be the one to take him down. Jamper going to take down Illis, and now a 2v2, and they lost one of their best players there.
It's going to be rough for them, but I feel like there's enough time to get that reboot if they finish this fight fast. Trying to. Don't own too many builds all the way down here. Crashbot actually making 1 player escape. Avery gets shot down a little bit more. This is a 10-minute fight, and it's still going on. Still 3 teams involved. 110 shot from Avery. He does do a little bit more damage. It's COD Gen's team that gets substituted in as opponents and as winners in this long fight.
And this is showing you exactly what we've been talking about the entire day, is that these long fights, they are very risk versus reward. The risk outweighs the rewards every single time. Yes, you will get eliminations. Yes, you will get those points, but you will always, always, always end up getting 3rd party. This being the 4th party that came in, I think that started with 3 teams, ended up being 4, now 5 teams. It was just absolutely insane. But because of where it was on the map, they were allowed to do so. And now if you look, this team that 3rd party is going to have a hard time because AV, Shark, and Knight are there. And look at all the teams that are up on top of the Stark POI mountain.
Another half and half show going down. Who knows? Depending on the zone. It is pulling slightly north towards the right. We don't usually see that happen. Towards Stark's Island, usually just pulls in or it pulls towards the center side of the map. All these teams that you mentioned, though, Clay, that are on the island itself will be at an advantage. Like chat, get to rotate free to wherever they want.
Not so free as they're going to find a player nearby. I think that actually may be, it looked like a solo based on where everyone's standing, but it's an entire trio. They've decided just to base up and to not be any aggressive here for them, but I'm expecting, right? They're not that aggressive in that mid game. They usually look in the late game to try to make something happen. That's where Chap drives. That's where Coop drives as well. In turn, Crim's, Class, and Eclipse Day are set up in a very, very good spot. This is the highest mountain on all of this Stark area POI, and they have a very good angle to set them up. Again, they have not been playing that well, but a last game can help boost the confidence. I don't know if it'll put them in the top 10, though.
It'll be tough. I think these guys are just looking for that experience to really see what works to get them all the way to that winning moment. Right now, the biggest thing that's been going on between them is that they get split up. Eclipse, and then Class end up going down. Crims will be in a clutch situation, but will not be able to actually do enough damage or live long enough. So we'll see what they get to fix over. Past that, we talked a little bit about Kearney, Polarized, and Strep. Strong individual players, always been fillers for other teams. This time actually buckling down, playing with each other, the same people 24/7, no, or fillers no more. And so far, fights to fights, position-wise, they're looking good. Overall results for this tournament, I feel like they should place a little bit higher.
I would agree with you there. Just haven't been on top of their game. And a team that also hasn't been on top of their game right here, Aspect, Azudis, and NPen not in that top 10. As there's your top 10 there. Again, it was a 2-point separation coming into this game. We know 4th place is out of the game. We know, I think, 6th place is out of the game as well. So it's looking very, very good. As you see, 42nd place there. I think that's 10th place there. Genesis, Feared, and Qua. We got a chance to really make this comeback, but again, that's a 34, 35 point comeback that would need to happen. So a victory round with a lot of eliminations would be very, very hard for him.
It'll be tricky all the way around. But once again, every single one of these teams has had moments where they straight up don't even see a single point in a game. On the final one, though, I think every single one of these guys are going to be fighting to stay alive for as long as possible. All looking for a chance to end up winning out. NPen beamed on the side, and oh my god, thrown down by his team. Doesn't actually get knocked all the way through. I think it was maybe slightly into water.
The good thing about that, though, so if your team does throw you off a hill, you do not take fall damage.
Okay.
So it's very,
Say
very
less.
smart for them to throw them down so no one gets the loot. They do still get the siphon, but yes, if you throw your teammate down when they are knocked, they do not take fall damage.
Storm Surge now active. Another barrier a lot of teams could not overcome. Trying to build up that suspense, take things slow. Everyone here is just trying to think about what to do next, where to move. Zuni's NPen aspect. Yes, positional overlords when it comes to landing at authority, being center of the map, but when you have to traverse all the way over Stark Island, first even get onto the island, all that positional advantage thrown out the window. Now they're on the back foot trying to get into Storm. So many other teams congested on that southern side. They don't have time to move around the right. Zone is closing in fast, box to box. They're still almost in zone. They should be safe. There we go. Bucky, Creo, Kanata. More central position in this congestion. Only 3 elims. We saw them against Wrigley dictating, etc. at Weeping Woods, and now they're going for more aggro plays. This could be a big mistake. They do have some shields to use to stay alive. Blake going down in the feet, I think. And now Storm Surge will activate. 54 keys being taken out. DJ with a pickup. Shark is now knocked. Not out yet. Cease is out. Zuni's knocked. Shark eliminated by COD Genesis. No way.
No way that is happening. It is up. And Bucky getting knocked there by Coop as well. But in turn, Kanata getting Coop a 1-for-1. So they back off and get the res. Who knows? But this is our second place team right now. They are doing well. Technically, by now, unless Jock, Acorn, and company were able to get eliminations, as Creo and company are able to get that elimination and find it, and finally get it, it looks good for them. They may be able to get the res. They technically Clix is in first right now, just based off of raw points, unless Acorn and his trio were able to get any elimination because no placement points have come through. And Clix is being very aggressive when he now, this is something that the old Clix wouldn't have done. He would have gone for that elimination, but now realizes, and after playing with so many great players that have taught him, hey, do not go for that. Play for that rotation because you're so close to picking up the victory.
Really good to fight that last theme as well in game number 5, where so many players were making those solo plays, actually getting dropped down, leaving their trios one leg less. This time though, full sprint, everyone's active. 16 seconds left until the end game portion of the last chance starts. Remember, $50,000 tournament, lots of money on the line, respect as well as to who's playing well. Quad taking out Sprite, 16 trios left. Placement gets handed out when there's 12. 3 more teams need to go down.
Clix goes down. Big knock there by Calc. Zexro going down in turn, though. Clix is going to get eliminated. Calc is going to be the recipient of getting that. Nosh going to be down with Zypha. This is big. So technically right now, first place and second place are tied. They have the same amount of points with that elimination there on the Acorn as Nosh trying to stay alive. He's got a very bad position here. He's just trying to find anything that he can. Crash Pad, he definitely needs to pick him up. Dropping the SMG was the right play. Zypha down there as well. They've got no shields remaining. Everybody in the lobby is focusing on them. They know that this isn't one of the teams that's near the top, and they are, unfortunately, the edit not going to be there for Zypha. VYX going to take him down, so now Nosh has to solo carry for first place here.
All up to Nosh. Points are tied. I'm pretty sure Slacks, Jack, and Acorn are alive too. Has a lot of mats. No shields left though. Needs to outlive a lot. This medkit, although the right idea, will put him so far behind zone, and he actually gets affected once again. Here is the winning perspective. These guys are in a mid-ground layer when it comes to Jack, Acorn, and Slacks. Nosh right now, slightly lower. both on HP, chances to win, and layers overall. 10 seconds for the zone to close in. He's already tanking it. He's basically in the same spot in terms of HP. Unfortunate for him. It's Calc, Zex, and Mac on height again with the mystical bomb, it looks like, and the gauntlets.
And this came from that push by Zay and company over to him. And as we look, Jock and company are very, very healthy. Sitting in zone, trying to get that med kit off. He does end up getting it there. Acorn, though, going to get tagged up pretty low. Nosh still alive. Knight is going to go down. We saw one of the members already go down, so now it's up to either AV or Shark. As Nosh falls, and I think as long as Jock, Acorn, and Slack stay up, they're going to take the lead. As placement points are just awarded, they have taken the lead. They are in first place right now. If they can stay alive and outstand just a couple more placement points, I guarantee you they're going to be in first.
Bucky's active in the feed, though. How big of a game can he get? Up top on height, Cal, because there are 12 teams still left, and at least 3 of them have a say. There's the first shot of the gauntlet. Not much else active, so maybe someone's trying to take over height. The longer Jack, Acorn, and Slack stay alive, the better their chances are of holding onto this lead, making placement, and winning the entire 6-game tournament.
Cal going down, high ground being challenged. This is really good for
By
everyone.
Kanata.
It was by Kanata, correct. This is really good for them. AV is going to fall, so they're out. They cannot contest any more than they already have. Macwood and Zex down with very, very little builds remaining. Shots going through. They're going in. Shots going to connect. Who is that? It seems like a duo. I can't tell, as Macwood is just trying to pop off. I can't tell. Bucky, Trio in the feed as well. Jock and company still here, trying to make their way through. Logout elimination going to come through. Acorn is very, very low. Slash with 3 eliminations. Jock with 1. Everybody staying alive. Genesis going down. I think Kanata just know that aspect that just went down, so everyone's still alive. Jock trying to make something happen, and he does. Elimination going to come through. That's going to be on TJ. Backwood going down, but taking down a player. Rocane taking down Acorn. This is huge. Slack is still alive. Jock is still alive, but at very low HP. He's bouncing in his zone. This is not what he wanted to do. No, he goes into zone. Slack, the last remaining member here, but shots come through and he's down. Can Bucky, Creo, and Kanata make something happen? Zextro in a solo situation. He's trying to pop the mech. He's got time. No, he doesn't. He decides against this shockwave. Going to come through. Creo, Bucky. Where are they? Shots come through. There's Creo, Bucky alive. This needs to be a very big game. And it is. Shockwave's coming out. They're going up. Do they have what it takes? Do they have high ground? And they do. Bucky has high ground. It's a 3v2. Creo going down. Kanata already down. Bucky needs to 3v1 and shots go through. No builds remaining. Bucky could do this. He's got to land very, very big pumps, though. Shots are not going through here for them. He's got a player up above. Knock comes through. 2v1. Can he do it? Shockwave's not there from shots coming through. Another big shot. Can he do it? No! Bucky cannot do it. Almost a clutch, but it was still a lot of points.
That was almost a 15 elimination game. Could have been 16 possibly if that last one locked in. Versus the placement that the number 1 team, Acorn, Jack, and Slacks, pushed for and pushed so far ahead with. It's literally elims versus placement at the moment. At the same time, there was almost a 20-point difference between these 2 teams. So did those 15 points make up the difference? Was the extra placement enough to, I mean, math is not my strong suit. We'll have to wait for that leaderboard to come up straight, because I don't even know when exactly things went down or when exactly Slacks ended up going down as the last trio member of the first place trio. Still, let's look at the replays. Maybe we can get an idea of things as to how they happened. I mean, Clay, break these down for me.
Yeah, it started off early. This is what they needed to do. They needed to go aggressive, and we chatted about this while this was happening. They needed every elim, every opportunity, and that's what they got. They did not get that victory royale, unfortunately, but it may still be enough. With Jock falling to the zone and then Slash going down right after. Kanata, so as he's popping off, he was able to make some plays for Bucky in that in-game as well. This was just very good by him. Early game prowess being good. They were able to get the reboot, and we talked about it when it happened, but they finished it so quickly.
Absolutely, they did. And right here it was Mac, I think maybe even helping out Slacks in general, making sure that there were no more eliminations available for Bucky to take over. Here was Jack's amazing play to keep that dream alive. Notice that it's top 8 right now, top 7. I think they went down when it was top 6 or top 5, so they definitely got a little bit of placement to boost them over and a lot of eliminations as well. Bucky with the last 2 could have landed a big 1 pump. That win might have been the thing that separates him from second or first place. We'll have to wait for things to get tallied up because it's way too close to call.
It is way too close to call, and I think we might have Monster D-Face to give us one more giveaway for everybody for that awesome last game.
Yo, 100%. That was a crazy end game. Had me at the edge of my seat. What a 6-game stretch. While the leaderboards are being built up, we have things to give out. GG Enterprise is going to be dropping some links in the chat. You guys at home can enter in. It's going to be another fire giveaway. If I'm not mistaken, yes, it's going to be the Astro A40 controller. All right, if you're on mouse and keyboard, I don't care. Pick this up. This is like a $300 controller or something like that. It's pricey. Pick it up. I mean, holiday season around the corner. Okay, I want everyone to enter in. Click that link right there. Join up. And the way this is all going to work is you enter into the raffle by following the channel, following the Twitter, and all that good stuff. Very simple stuff. Put in the information, and you'll be good to go to enter in for this Astro A40 controller. We want to give a thank you, of course, to the GG Enterprise team. This was a fantastic show, all in all things considering. We started off, on the road here, took things, things started going off. Game 2, Game 3 were fire. Game 4 got crazy. Game 5 and 6 picked it back up. What a fantastic show in general. Let's bring in the caster show. Let's get the full shot here. I want to continue to chop down these gameplays here while everyone else is jumping into the giveaway there. Man, what an end game. I'm thinking this leaderboard is going to be, it's going to be closer than what we thought. You guys saw how many eliminations is on the board. I think Bucky's team coming into this was in top 5. If there's a way that you get to first place, it's by dropping a bomb in the final run while you're in top 5 to close the gap. It was possible, Shayo. It is possible.
I feel like he needed the win or just a few more eliminations, maybe an actual 20 bomb to catch up with each elim being worth 1. Bucky did have a little bit more placement. The top 5 to the top 2. I feel like Slacks held out though all the way towards the very end.
That was crazy. And Clay, what's your final takes, man, on just how things are kind of going off in that last game? It happened so fast. I don't even think I got to thank, like, what was it, AJ's there who took the actual victory. I know it's kind of stolen spotlight, but still, close run right there for Bucky, almost clutching up a 1v3.
And it was crazy because for a moment of that game, Slacks, Jock, and Acorn should have had it, right? But that crash pad play from Jock really put them in a bad situation, separating him from Slacks. But he could have had an opportunity to maybe 2v3 or whatever situation that Slacks ended up going down in. But that was a really unfortunate play there. And then in turn, Zypha, Nosh, and Clicks also were in the running. And then we saw Knight, Av, and Rogueshot go down. It was literally the top 4 or 5 going down all within session. And then it was on Bucky's shoulder. And I think I agree with Shayo that those 2 eliminations that Bucky got that he wasn't able to pick up might be the difference maker.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it was definitely tight up there. I mean, the leaderboards are being tallied up, so we can really slow down the pace right now so we can actually get there. I mean, from where we left off, it was 75 for Slacks, Vanish, Acorn, and of course, Jack here. Vanish, Jack, and Acorn. It was close. It was so close. With a 2-point difference for Zypha, Nosh, and Clicks. I mean, we saw the Clicks fanboys blowing up the chat, and yeah, I'm gonna call you guys fanboys because why not? You guys go crazy. No, seriously, you saw the Clicks fan. They were calling for him. We jump on the perspective. Clicks goes down to the lobby grief, right to lobby focus from Calc, Zextro, and Macwood. This is about the second time now, I want to say, from them on their victory tracks that they are just like bodying players, like significant teams coming into those end games with their positioning. They did it to Cease and Crew when they were about to take a dub, and Keys on Blake, I think, coming into game 4, and now they pull it out again here. So like, let's just talk about that, man. What is that?
I mean, it's just highly aggressive gameplay, right? And just making the right decisions. I think that's the most important point. These guys are just absolutely decisive. There's never any hesitation, and that's why we just see these consistent picks being happening over the whole game, and then easier to kind of concentrate with the whole trio at an advantage to take a 3v2. So I think that's the reason they're always ahead.
And I'm just kind of hovering on over. Yeah, we see you guys, man. It was definitely crazy here. It was a rough game. That was a fun one, all the way through. I mean, we even had just the community get involved, just bringing it all to social media. I mean, let's talk about Zayt and Bizzle and the contestation that happened there. That's going well and beyond what we thought was just going to stay in game. No, this is getting personal. It's taken up. I mean, they're really feeling some kind of way, man. Players that are, in his opinion, just contesting his drop spot. Let's talk about drop spots here because there's a lot of money on the line. And yeah, let's toss up the money. We're talking about the money, so you guys know what is on the line and the significance of these drop spots. So like for Zayt and his crew to be getting contested by the entire FaZe team there and them not having success, I mean, it holds everybody down from getting a piece of this prize, doesn't it, Clay?
It does, and I think Shio and I talked about it too. While it is about the prize, it also for them is about their pride. This is what we saw in multiple different locations around the area, right? The top 10 even getting that 300 as well up into 8th. Everyone getting a very, very, very good amount of money. But for a lot of these players, a $15,000 tournament is amazing and it's awesome for them. But sometimes for them, they're just looking to go 3-3, 4-2 over the top of their competitors.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big things to take away from in today is that money isn't always everything when it comes to these players. It's always about that respect. It's always about what you can control coming out of that tournament for the next one, right? No matter what, Fortnite tournaments will always be an ongoing experience. The story will last from, you know, Cup to Champion Series to Worlds to like whatever you're pushing forward to, and everything is connected. That being said, what happened today? What was the story of these 6 games? I think we're ready to see that, Monster.
Let's break it all down right here. Your number 1 is going to be Slacks, Jack, and Acorn holding out with 92 points, a 3-point difference maker here. And second, Bucky, Creo, Kanata. That's the kind of game you want to have. What a game.
Indeed. But so sad for Bucky because he literally had, I think, 5 points saved up in that last shot. And the shot did not connect for enough damage. And he did not get those points. And a 3-point difference is his team and Slacks's. So, what a push though from Jack, Slacks, and Acorn though.
One
to get
win
Elims to stay ahead, but just one last elimination is all he needed. So unfortunate.
And I think even AJ was, I think, 1 HP. I think it was a very, very, very close clutch there for them, but a very, very great performance from Slack, Jack, and Acorn to just stay alive and get as many elims as they can. But Bucky has got to be feeling good. That clutch was so, so, so good. And even if he got those 2 eliminations that he had on the ground, it unfortunately would have been enough.
Yeah.
But still very, very good.
And we're
And
talking
listen,
about contention the whole time. Sorry, Monster. It's just for third place, Zypha, Nosh, and Clicks literally fought off spawn every single game and came 3rd overall today.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give more credit to everyone up here. Remember, Young Calc, Macwood, Zexro, they were once literally the crown holders for the game mode. They went like silent, AFK, not quite present as a team, but all of a sudden now they're all back. They're banded together. Zexro's back on the crew. A top 7 here is impressive. COD, Genesis, Fire, Qua, still impressive. Scented, Edgy, Commandment. That's a fan favorite. That's a community favorite right there. Still, everyone in this top 8 you're looking at right now, very, very impressive games. We didn't get to see too much, I feel, of Voyo, TJ, and Rokane, but those are just those sleeper picks that are going to be coming in and staying consistent. I'm not sure if we have the rest of the leaderboards here. I know this is our top 8 right now. Yes, we do. We can see how everyone else kind of broke out. Look at just how tight the competition was. Any one of these guys could have broken into that top front page. All just a difference of a few eliminations and a few more placements.
It is. It's very, very close. And that's always how it is when it comes down to competitive Fortnite and those last placement thresholds. It's like you could have done this differently. You could have done that differently. But overall, everyone ended up playing a very, very good game. And again, congratulations to everybody that placed in that top 10. And those people that are entering the giveaway, hope you do end up picking the victory over that. And I hope everyone enjoyed. And thank you to the observers as well. I want to point that out. I don't think we've said that today, but thank you to the observers for doing such a great job in catching almost all the action and keeping everybody on the edge of their seat there, especially with that last game. It was so, so, so good. But as we go down to the next page, you'll see Cesar and Vivid there, Bugha down there as well, and then the final page being shown on your screen now.
Unfortunately, the European trio did not show too hard, but can't blame them. You know, the big differential as well as the big FNCS warm-ups going on at the same time. But that being said, all these trios that did play today showed what they had, got a little bit more insight to their drop spots, to the way competition is played with money on the line. So it's going to be cool to see how this progresses forward to other tournaments that are coming up later this month.
And talking about tournaments coming up, there is so much more happening within the Fortnite community, included here at the GG Enterprise channel. Ladies and gentlemen at home, make sure you follow And shout outs to the practice server team, man. We produced this entire event. Of course, the players, of course, for jumping in and playing with us as well. I want to give a sign out or shout out an opportunity for you guys. Clay Stelling, shout out Wager to take the floor. Clay, any final words?
I'm just very happy to be brought on board, and the games were amazing. I thought, maybe 6th game wouldn't have been as amazing because we sometimes see that, but these players, they played their heart out to the entire thing, and I'm just very, very glad I've been a part of it.
And
I want to shout out like any of these players that you guys saw that were interesting or possibly even did bad or were on the bottom side of the leaderboard. If you don't follow them, tune into their stories, see how they evolve and get better over time, because I guarantee some of these guys who just kind of didn't do too hot today will just pop off at some point later off in their careers this year.
Thank you so very much. And guys, those were our casters, Clay Stelling, Shia Wager, of course, bringing all the action. 6 incredible games here at the GG Enterprise. $15,000 on the line. On behalf of GG Enterprise and the practice server, of course, bringing this community event to you guys for the NA East, we say thank you. Thank you all. Hopefully, if you entered in and won some of the goods as well, you're a happy camper today too. Follow us on Twitter at GG Enterprise, at the practice server. And yeah, just enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed everything and that we were able to produce and bring to the table here for y'all. I'm Monster G-Face. I'm getting out of here. That's going to be my final thoughts. And catch you guys in the next event. It's coming soon.